The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, the largest sports stadium in the world, on an overcast and humid July day. While much of the year these massive grandstands at the corner of 16th and Georgetown quietly stand guard over auto racing's most hallowed ground, today the Speedway's alive with the energy and excitement that comes only on race day. Today is the once-a-year running of the Brickyard 400, the time each year when NASCAR stock cars take to this famed and oh-so-tough track. For both racers and race fans, it's a race in a place that stands apart from any other. You can sense how special this place is in so many ways.
It's a perfectly beautiful rectangle. 4 identical corners. They embrace a skyward pylon, a racing museum, a gleaming pagoda. But these things are all stationary. What really moves you at Indy is the race. It's a visual tempest of color and speed. And for your eyes, so fast and so much.
The first smell on race day is exhaust from racing fuel as the engines roar to life. It burns your eyes and fills your lungs, all while pumping adrenaline through your veins. It's the smells at this racetrack as you walk through Gasoline Alley, smelling that rubber in the air. It's all those smells coming together that bring the memories of the past and the excitement of today to the forefront.
If you close your eyes and just listen, you can sense every aspect of race day here at Indy with just your ears. The 7 a.m. cannon signals the gates are open. Lap 1 has 43 pavement-pounding stock cars roaring by. The screaming fans, the squealing tires, the groans and gasps of anger and frustration. Folks, think of this place as a 2.5-mile theater where the surround sound is simply sensational.
Brick and mortar, dirt and grime, rubber and grease, not exactly key ingredients in your favorite recipe at home, I'm sure. But these drivers hope to taste them all today. You see, it's a Brickyard 400 tradition to kiss the bricks, to get a taste and celebrate victory here at Indianapolis. Will it be Gordon or Johnson, maybe Smoke, who adds to his Indianapolis legacy, or maybe a first-timer like Montoya, Martin, or Junior? They all wish and hope, but only one driver will kiss the bricks and taste the sweetness of victory at the Brickyard today.
Which driver will taste those bricks and experience that thrill? That's the question, as ESPN welcomes you to NASCAR Countdown for the Brickyard 400 from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana. Alongside 2 of the more famous landmarks here, the Pagoda and the Yard of Bricks, you'll find our ESPN pit studio as we welcome you to race day at Indy. Inside, Alan Bestwick along with Rusty Wallace, Brad Doherty, and Ray Evernham. Welcome to our coverage of the Brickyard 400. You just heard our pit reporter team talk about the way this racetrack assaults your senses when you come here. From your experiences, what strikes you on race day at Indy?
When I come to race day at Indy, Alan, no doubt about it, I know that I'm at one of the big 3 races. I mean, the big 3 being the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte, and Indianapolis. I know this race is going to pay a lot of money. I know everybody in the world is going to be watching it, and I know there's a lot of pressure on me to get the job done. There's a lot of things running through my mind, but above all, I know this is a big one.
And Alan, it's a big one. It's a big facility, but as a crew chief, you are closer to the fans than you are at any other place that we race on the NASCAR circuit. I can remember being on top of that box so close to the fans, you can hear them get up and down during the race. You can look right over into their faces and almost ask them, hey, am I doing the right thing? Should I pit? Should I not pit? They're almost part of your team here.
You know, I've been coming to this race since the inaugural race in 1994, and when you come in through that tunnel down there, it's almost an eerie feeling. You look at the corner, and you can almost see Gordon Johncock or A.J. Foyt or Rick Mears, Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, you know, going through the fog. It's awe-inspiring to walk into this facility because of the enormity, because of everything, the iconic status. It is almost overwhelming when you come into this place.
All right, so the history, the atmosphere, the overwhelming feeling, the pressure, if you will. How does that affect the race and the racers?
Well, history and tradition don't create pressure, they create responsibility. You get a chance to play at Carnegie Hall, you want to deliver your best performance. You get a chance to race at Daytona and Indianapolis, you want to deliver your best performance, not just for your team or yourself, but for your fans and for the sport.
The greats thrive in it. When you say Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, Jimmy Johnson, those people embrace the moment. They don't feel the pressure. They get into the pressure. They get into the moment. They maximize their abilities. Everyone else is very consistent, but these guys take it to the next level, and that's why they're the best in the world.
For me, the pressure was pretty well self-induced pressure. It was Penske pressure.
Yep.
I mean, I always wanted to do so good for the captain. It was unreal. Here's a guy that's won so many Indianapolis 500s. I just did not want to let him down. They've never won here in a stock car before. Maybe today will be his day. But for me, I felt pressure trying to do good for him.
Well, this Brickyard 400 is a big race where the biggest stars of the sport have shined brightest over the years. Coming up, we'll visit with two of the biggest stars of NASCAR and of this race. Jimmy Johnson has won the Brickyard 400 the last 2 years and 3 of the last 4 while winning 4 consecutive championships. A cool conversation with Double J shortly. But up next, Jeff Gordon, a 4-time Brickyard winner, but riding the longest winless streak of his career. Gordon speaks about family racing and how the two affect each other as we get ready for one of the most special races of the year.
In so many ways, Indy's impacted my life because, growing up as a kid, I always dreamed about racing at Indy, of course in the Indy 500, long before they had the Brickyard 400.
Jeff Gordon wins the Brickyard 400 for a 4th time.
Knowing that I've won there 4 times and have a shot at winning there 5 times means a lot to me. I mean, I want it really bad.
Jimmy Johnson becomes a 3-time winner at the Brickyard 400.
To win it 4 times would be off the charts. Would put me in elite company with just Jeff that's been able to win 4. It'd be amazing. That race really is a special race.
Anytime you get to race at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's special because there's only a couple races there a year.
Who's gonna win at the stripe? It's Hornets wins!
For me, being a guy that's won the Indianapolis 500 and being that nobody else has ever won both of them, it's pretty neat to have that opportunity to do it.
To me, it's not about being from Indiana. It's more about the Brickyard itself. Just the history of all the drivers that have walked through the garage area or driven across that yard of bricks is what it means the most to me.
Car lined up 8th on the grid for today's Brickyard 400. Since Gordon won the last of his 4 Brickyard races in 2004, a lot has changed both in his racing and his personal lives. But as NASCAR Now lead reporter Marty Smith found out when he went one-on-one with Gordon, there's still a lot of fire in the belly many at Indy consider one of their own.
There is an undercurrent in the garage that being a daddy makes you soft. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't think it makes you soft. I think it makes you tired. And I think
I can attest to that.
I think getting good sleep, is important to doing your job well. When I get in that car, put the helmet on, flip the switch, I'm not thinking about anything but go as fast as I possibly can, and nothing's ever changed that and how I go about it.
What about competitive drive?
I'm more competitive. I'm more intense about winning today than I ever have been.
Why?
It's just because
you got something to prove.
I feel like I kind of do. I feel like we've lost what we had at one time, as a team, and I want to do everything I can to help get that back. I feel like we're very capable of winning races and winning championships, and we haven't done that. And by not winning makes you hungrier. So to me, there's a lot more reasons today that are driving me harder and keeping that fire alive inside the car than ever.
What's it like to win so much?
I feel like I've forgotten.
That's what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden not.
Yeah. Nobody goes out, at least not in our sport that I've seen in a long, long time, that goes out at their peak. And whatever the reasons are, whether they make a team change, it could be your vision, it could be,
old man disease.
Old man disease, whatever. And I trust me, nobody has tried harder to try to figure it out more than me.
Describe your rivalry with Jimmy Johnson.
My rivalry with Jimmy is similar to other competitors out there where, you want to win. The difference is that the way Jimmy came into the sport and how we were friends, my role in the team, it brought us closer together than probably any other driver that I've ever been friends with out there. And I'll be honest, I've never been one to make friends with competitors.
A familiar place and a sight for Jeff Gordon.
At that time, I was like, man, I just won my 4th championship. I wanted he and that team to go out there and tear it up. And I was cool with that. I wanted to get my fair share in there as well, and I hoped that we would battle for the championships. And we did the first few years. Then what started happening was those guys' success started to rise. And it wasn't that I had a problem with their success. I had the problem with the lack of our success. It's a good kind of rivalry that exists, and I think it's one of the things that makes it so strong.
Is it? When you're beating doors at Texas at 150 miles an hour? Is that healthy?
Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson touch. Teammates, friends. I think Jeff Gordon's kind of thrown all of that out the window.
What happens is when you're friends and your teammates, there's just these certain boundaries that you have to be very careful not to cross. And on that day, Jimmy felt like I crossed a boundary. I felt like he crossed a boundary, and we butted heads. Then we go to Talladega, and it's just the timing of everything really got things heated up.
48 is testing my patience, I can tell you that. It takes a lot to make me mad, and I'm pissed right now.
I probably shouldn't have said what I said afterwards, and I let my emotions,
Why?
And I know from you, listen, from your standpoint, it's all good, And
why isn't it from your standpoint if you meant it?
And
Who cares?
I
Who
did
cares
mean
what anybody thinks if you meant it?
I tell you why, because on Monday, we're not at the racetrack in front of the media and thousands of fans. We're at the race shop, or our guys on our team.
Did you feel any differently on Monday?
I did when I got the phone call from Rick Hendrick, yeah. It's good to have internal rivalry, because that's what makes people competitive. That's what makes people work harder, try harder, do everything they can to continue to elevate up their game. And one day, we're going to laugh about Texas and Talladega. And that's what makes friends. That's what makes a good friendship.
Well, what have you done lately? Business, it can be very easy to lose sight of just what Jeff Gordon has done. He's won one of every 7 races he's been in, finished in the top 5 in nearly half his starts, and his 4 championships puts him in a tie with Jimmy Johnson for 3rd all-time, behind only Richard Petty and Dale Earnhardt. The first Brickyard race, 1994. Jeff won it. Ray, you were with him. The circumstances were kind of magical.
They were. We were a new team coming to a new track with only 1 win under our belt. The good thing was it was a level playing field. Not Rusty Wallace, not Dale Earnhardt, not Bill Elliott. Nobody had a playbook. We knew that if we could win here, we could prove that we beat the best. We won that day, and I really feel like that gave us the confidence to go on and win the 1995 championship.
Now, Jeff hasn't won in 48 races since Texas 2009. If Indy's a platform where the best performing teams and drivers shine, can Gordon win today?
He absolutely can win, and here's why. He's been strong throughout the year. I know he hasn't won yet, but he is second in points. He's 103 points out right now. And if there's any racetrack that Jeff can shine at, it's at Indianapolis. He loves this track. He's from around this area. I know California, Indy, whatever you want to call it, but he loves it. And it's in his head that if I've got to dig down deep and get a win, this is the place I can do it.
Yeah, this is a special place for Jeff Gordon, and he absolutely can use this as a catalyst. But the thing that concerns me is he has run well all season long, and particularly in the beginning of races. It's at the end. He doesn't seem to be in position during the end of runs to win races. If Steve Letarte and those guys can put that 24 up near the front at the end of a race, Jeff Gordon will get that bad boy to victory lane.
But Jeff has an opportunity today to do the same thing that he did for us back in '94. He can give that younger team of his the confidence to know that they can beat the best if they take it to him today. And that could propel them to a championship. 5 wins at Indy could mean 5 championships for Jeff Gordon.
Interesting to see that 24 car again lined up in 8th position. You can see and hear more of Marty's interview with Jeff Gordon by logging on to ESPN.com. Keywords Gordon Video. There are 3 more segments you can watch, and it is good stuff. Up next, Jimmy Johnson, winner of this race the last 2 straight years. Hear Jimmy tell you in his own words well, he's able to stay cool and calm in the big pressure situations like here at Indy or like trying to clinch a championship. That's next on NASCAR Countdown.
Hello, race enthusiasts. You may remember me from such racing films as Talladega Nights, Bristol Afternoons, and Daytona's Morning Dew.
We're inside your TV to tell you to go see the new cop movie, The Other Guys, on August 6th. And oh yeah, also want to let you know that you're watching NASCAR at the Brickyard on ESPN.
We won the Daytona 500! Jimmy Johnson wins the Arrow. You guys, let's go! Jimmy Johnson becomes a three-time winner at the Brickyard 400.
History, boys. No one ever.
Jimmy Johnson came to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series in 2002 and since then has led more laps and won more races than any other driver. He's never finished worse than 5th in the championship and won the last 4 straight titles. It's not bad. Johnson has shown a remarkable knack for rallying from mid-race trouble and pursuing victory relentlessly, seeming immune to the pressure of a race or championship's late stages. Some say Double J has ice water in his veins.
In every race, there is a transformation. Show nothing, give nothing, win at all costs. The chaos tries to envelop him. The transfusion courses through him, working its way from inside out. A coldness overtakes him. He has ice water running through his veins.
Ice water in the veins means being composed, focused, and ready to get the job done. And the only way you do that is to stay calm. The chaos on track, there's so many levels to it. We can run anywhere from 210, 215 miles an hour. The best wake-up call for how fast we're going is when something goes wrong. And there's so much to lose if you cross over the line, stick the car in the fence, and then through the course of the race, you've got to ramp up and find that limit and find 10/10ths and not step over that line. Getting caught up in the emotions of the race is really easy to do. You know, as time goes on, I find it becomes more and more difficult to shrug some of that stuff off. The environment on track really boils down to the way you race me, I race you. You can't let people walk on you. If you show a weakness, each time they get to you, they're going to put you in a position that you don't want to be in. So there are guys out there that they won't show me the respect. I sure as hell not going to show them the respect.
Heavy lies the head that wears the crown. There are no teammates, no loyalties, no friendships. Only the cold-blooded taste the checkered. And victory is sweet.
The most tense situation that any driver could hope for is at the end of the race, trying to close the deal, trying to win the race. When I'm in someone's rearview mirror in the closing laps, I hope that they look up in their mirror and they see that Lowe's hood and they know that we're there. They start to have doubt in their head. But at the end of the day, the only way people have the invincible opinion and the idea that we're not beatable is by what we do on the track. And for the last 4 years, we've delivered and we've closed.
Pretty cool customer, isn't he? Seriously, Jimmy Johnson seems to have an incredible ability to close, be it a race or a championship. Is that a learned skill? Is that instinctive? What?
It is absolutely instinctual. Jimmy Johnson came over to me a few weeks ago as I was sitting hollering when he was talking to me after the Sonoma race, and he didn't apologize for winning that race. He told me, he says, you had a pretty good race car that day, and went on. Never said anything about sorry for the mishaps or anything like that. Guys like Jimmy Johnson, Tiger Woods, Michael Jordan, they have this instinctual thing in them that they will step on your throat given the opportunity, and they will do it every every time.
And guys like that have the ability, just like Jimmy said, to manage their emotions. This guy is so cool. He's like a GPS. Victory lane, flat tire, recalculating. Accident, recalculating. I mean, he's going to get there, and he stays calm about it. He recalculates every time they have a problem.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Now, Jimmy talked about in the piece seeing himself come up, or other people seeing him come up in their rearview mirror and being in their heads. Is Jimmy in their heads?
Absolutely, Jimmy Johnson is in their heads, or he's in everybody's heads. I mean, he's even in my head. I mean, they asked me to pick who I think's going to win this race, and I said I think Denny Hamlin for several reasons. But something in the back of my head told me you better pick Jimmy Johnson. He's in my head too.
Yeah, he's definitely in the competitors' heads, as we've heard throughout the season. Some guys say, you know, I hope anyone wins except for the 48. He is on everyone's mind, and very well should be. He is the most dominant athlete in sports over the last 5 years.
Jimmy Johnson, part of a photo opportunity that's taking place in Victory Circle right now, where former winners of the Brickyard 400 and the Indianapolis 500 that are competing in today's race lined up with both the Borg Warner Trophy and the Brickyard 400 Winners Trophy at Indianapolis.
The bricks, that I think is probably the most iconic part of the Speedway.
Everybody goes out there and checks that out. It's one of the things that sticks out about the track the most.
You go out there and everybody gets down and kisses the bricks and stuff like that. I think that's really something unique and different.
Gives you a sense of where it's come from. You know, a lot of the history is still physically there, and I think that's amazing.
A place so special, they named a town after it. Speedway, Indiana, home of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where they've been racing cars for a century now. Many of the traditions and customs car in the Speedway's Hall of Fame Museum that Mark Donohue drove to victory in the 1972 Indy 500. That car that was the first of 15 Penske wins in that great race. Few things have eluded Penske, one of America's most successful businessmen and most successful racers, but victory in the NASCAR race here has. Penske has 3 drivers who'll try to win him a Brickyard 400 trophy today: Sam Hornish Jr., Brad Keselowski, and former Sprint Cup champion Kurt Busch. I recently spent the day with Roger at the massive Penske racing facilities in North Carolina and found out that his successes in racing and in business are inseparable.
Into business and take those attributes that I'd learned in racing and try to apply them in the business world. And then, of course, a few years later, we started Penske Racing.
This picture down on the end here of a guy behind the wheel of this number 6, that's you, right?
Right. Now, I don't know how that got up here, but I guess they thought it'd be a good idea to show that I was a driver at one point. I think that, you know, when I was racing, I tried to take the things that I learned and pass it on and try to teach and come together with the drivers that we have, because it's one big family.
That family's had 5 decades of success.
The incredible move maybe ever in Indianapolis. Sam Hornish Jr. has won in an incredible finish.
And the 15th victory for Roger Penske.
24 Penske drivers have more than 200 victories in open wheel and stock car series racing, including 15 Indianapolis 500 championships.
Is there one trait or one characteristic that stands out above all that makes someone a Penske driver?
Well, I think that what I look at is someone who knows how to win races, but more important, are they going to fit into our team? And I think that we win as a team, we lose as a team. So when we have 3 cars in the NASCAR race this coming weekend, guess what happens? Only one's going to win. So we've got to be sure it's a team effort.
You walk along this wall, all these banners commemorating all these successes. And you've got wins for places like, well, you name it, but this one, Daytona 500. Great memory?
That was a special day for us, and I think that what was key there, it was the teamwork. At the end of that race, I remember hearing on my radio, and Kurt said, get Ryan to go high, I'm coming.
Teammates working together. Ryan Newman, Roger Penske win the Daytona 500.
And I'll tell you, he pushed him through, and it was just a great day for us.
Penske has had success in NASCAR and at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but he hasn't been able to put the two together for a victory at the Brickyard 400.
Bill Elliott just broke Rusty Wallace's heart right there.
We've had good success there with Rusty a couple of times. We've been competitive there, but we haven't, as they say, haven't closed the deal. At the end of the day, you got to set goals in racing. Sprint Cup championship is a goal that we have. The Indy 500 has been one. Winning Daytona was key.
You're in position, possibly, to win a Sprint Cup championship, a Nationwide Series championship, and an IndyCar championship all in 1 year. Have you allowed the thought to creep in yet?
Those 3 championships is very interesting, you know, are in our sights, and they're certainly goals for us. If we didn't think we could win the championships every year, we wouldn't go racing. I would say we're competitive. Am I thinking that we're going to be in the winner's circle at the end of the year? Listen, we got a lot of work to do, and I don't want to have anybody think I'm overconfident.
So as we walk past all these banners signifying all these big wins, is there room on this wall for one at Indianapolis in July?
There's got to be one. That place, I probably have to move everything down one to put it right in the center. I think the Brickyard 400 and a chance to be in Victory Circle and that racetrack with NASCAR would be a special thing for me personally, but more important, you know, for our team. And I can tell you we're focusing on it. Kurt knows, Sam certainly knows, and Brad does. He was up there testing, and he said, Roger, I want to win that race for your team and for you. So pretty special.
As one of the world's largest auto dealers, Roger Penske is a very busy man, but he's so passionate about racing that you'll find him at a racetrack just about every weekend with one of his different drivers and has 66 wins in NASCAR Sprint Cup Series racing with 6 drivers, 37 of those, by the way, with my buddy Rusty Wallace. Rusty, you've told me that Roger Penske's been a tremendous influence, not just on your racing career, but on your life. How?
He's taught me so much about a lot of things, Alan. There's no doubt about that. You talk about business, respect, surrounding yourself with good people, keeping everything neat and orderly. And above all, you know, I look at all that stuff and I think about him, and I've always just wanted to be like him. He's just a special person who demands respect. And, you know, everybody who talks about Roger Penske loves Roger Penske.
We heard Roger say the word team, what, 7, 8 times in that piece? And you hear these sayings from Roger, you come to realize they're not cliches, they're beliefs.
Definitely. I was fortunate enough to have worked in Roger's organization when I was younger, and it's a culture. He believes that. He lives it. I remember him speaking to a bunch of us young mechanics one day, and I heard him use the term, the whole can be greater than the sum of the parts. It's the first time I ever heard that, and the longer I was with him and the more I watch him, the more I understand it. He takes something and makes it stronger by using teamwork.
So what do you think of Roger's chances to get that big Brickyard 400 win today?
Well, I think if Sam Hornish could conjure up some of those great IndyCar days and get that karma going, he could have a great day today. Brad Keselowski, I still think, is on his way to being a superstar. Still a little young yet, got a little bit to learn. But I do think this Kurt Busch-Steve Addington combination, Kurt Busch is good at flat racetracks, fast racetracks. If they can take care of their equipment, put it in position at the end of the day, Kurt Busch could go to victory lane.
Well, let's hear from Kurt. He's starting 14th for Penske today, Doc.
Thanks, Alan. You know, Kurt, people say that have worked or driven for Roger Penske that just being around him changes their lives. What has he done for you?
He's an amazing individual, and he's done so much for my career, not just personally and on the racetrack, but business-wise as well. And he's just a magician. With everything he touches, it turns to gold, and it's really helped my career just settle in and feel a groove, and I hope today I can deliver a Brickyard 400 to him.
I was going to ask you about that. You know, with all the success he has had, it's hard to give the man something he doesn't already have, but he has never won a Brickyard 400. 400. What's it going to take for you to make that happen for him today?
We got to hit everything just right. I mean, it's a tough race to win. It's a very prestigious race to win. And if we can get the handling just right throughout the day, green racetrack to start, cars are going to be loose, but then it gets tighter and tighter and tighter as the track rubbers up. So we just have to stay on top of our adjustments today with the Miller Lite Dodge and give it our best.
Hey, good luck to you.
Thank you, Doctor.
Alan Kurt really wants to make it happen today for the captain.
Doc, thanks. Driver introductions underway down trackside. A live look at the grid along the main straightaway of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Denny Hamlin starts 18th in today's race. From down and injured to dominating and winning, his story is next.
I knew right away it was ACL. The other sports people that do this, they are out for the season. All I kept thinking about is how does I get myself in this position?
Some people, men and women, they ain't giving up. They're going to lay it on the line. They're going to go after it as hard as they can go after it. And, you know, you're going to have to kill them to get them out of there.
We're Esther and John Brockman. We've been sitting in these seats since May 30th, 1970.
When we were told that NASCAR was coming, we were so, I sent them a check and just said, sell me some seats.
When they came around turn 4, right in front of us, it sends shivers down everybody's spine.
You just had goosebumps.
When we used to leave at night, it was sad because we realized there was no more race for another year.
That's home. We've made so many special friends that we'll have friends for life.
The reunions of friends made by returning to this track year after year, part of the tradition that surrounds the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Section 29, Row AA, seats 1 and 2. Right behind the yellow-shirted people, we suspect the Brockmans are probably back in the motorhome still watching themselves on TV.
Probably so.
But that's the view that they'll have of the 17th running of the Brickyard 400 today at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Drivers being paraded around in front of those massive grandstands now. Denny Hamlin, one of the favorites of today, being shown to the fans. He's already a 5-time winner this season, a position not many expected him to be in after he tore his left ACL in a January basketball game. But that injury's helped the Virginia native discover things about himself he never knew he was capable of.
Anyone can be happy when you're on top, but when things go bad, how do you handle yourself and how do you pull through? I love going to basketball games, watching basketball games. I usually play at a fitness center right down the street from my house. I was handling the ball, trying to make an aggressive move. Unfortunately, my left leg couldn't take the pressure. My knee swelled up so big, it was literally softball size swelling right away. I contacted my doctor, told him, hey, I really need to get an MRI as soon as possible. He called me later on that afternoon and says, buddy, it's not good. I knew right away it was ACL. I talked to Mike when he asked me how it happened and whatnot, and I told him, he just said, if you're gonna be done, we gotta be tough.
There are a lot of people here that rely on the performance of those race cars and their families' livelihoods, and you know, it does affect all of us.
The best option we had is that I could manage to get by until November and then do the surgery.
When the projection came out that he was going to run the season and take care of it at the end of the year, I knew instantly that that was not going to work.
Right before Daytona, I had a couple buckling moments where I really just fell right to the ground because the knee was too weak to hold me. If I'm doing this within the first couple weeks of getting injured, how am I going to survive until November? We made the decision about a week before the Martinsville race. I had surgery planned for Monday morning following the race on Sunday afternoon. I had talked to the doctors about how am I going to feel. They said, you know, this is reconstructive. It's not going to be something that's easy. You see other sports people that do this, they are out for the season. All I kept thinking about is how does I get myself in this position?
Our goal was to get him back into the car for part of the race at Phoenix.
9 days out of surgery, and anyone that's had the surgery knows that 9 days out, usually you're still sitting in bed, but I was going to try to attempt to get in a race car. And I knew right away that it was going to be extremely difficult for me to go the entire distance. The pain was extremely bad. I told my crew chief to get the other driver ready.
Denny Hamlin right off knee surgery, 21st. Casey Mears standing by.
Start the race, then got off the horrible start. Went down 2 laps. Well, now Denny knows that you're not going to win the race. It's a bad day. I got a knee surgery. So we kind of all figured out he's going to be saying, hey, get me out of here after the first caution.
Casey Mears sits still on top of the pit box. Hamlin is going to try to run the whole race.
Some people, men and women, they ain't giving up. They're going to lay it on the line. They're going to go after it as hard as they can go after it. And, you know, you're going to have to kill them to get them out of there. Denny, in this situation, made a real statement to everybody.
You get text messages from Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson saying, I kind of thought you were wimp before, but I think you're a tough son of a... That stuff right there will give you the fuel to keep going.
Denny Hamlin playing hurt here today at Texas Motor Speedway is the winner of the Samsung Mobile 500.
Read a lot of critics, and a lot of them say it's the wrong thing to do to stay in the car. But I knew in my head that it was the right thing to do. It's changed me quite a bit. I found myself, I guess you could say, as a driver, and found what I had left still in the tank when I really needed it. Having success, and especially under those terms, has given me the confidence to know that I'm championship caliber. I could win a championship. It might not be this year, it might not be next year, but I know I'm good enough to do it.
Well, Denny Hamlin, I see his number 11 machine lined up 18th on the grid for today's race. Denny was a dominant driver on the short tracks of his native Virginia when he was hired to help Joe Gibbs Racing audition other drivers for a potential ride. He so impressed the team, they signed him up. Gibbs moved him to the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series in late 2005. He got his first pole in just his 6th start. He opened 2006 with a win in the Budweiser Shootout at Daytona. Scored his first win in a points race later that year. Pocono Raceway in Pennsylvania was the site, the first of what are now 13 Sprint Cup victories. And as for this season, Hamlin has won 5 times in the last 14 races. What hurt? Hamlin's been hot. Brad, as a former professional athlete, can you relate to Denny being injured and learning something about himself?
Yeah, I really can. Back in the late 90s, I broke my back, and I realized as a professional athlete, you are a commodity, and you need to treat yourself as one. And I was one of those people very critical of Denny because I wasn't worried about the pain or any of those things. I was worried about the long-term effect. But he, just like another young man, Andrew Bynum, who plays for the Los Angeles Lakers, put his team before himself. And it led to championship statistics, a championship opportunity for the Lakers, and he's put himself and his team in a position that they could win a championship. So very, very impressed with what he's done for that organization.
Now, and one of the fun things about this job is you get to deal with people in a non-competitive environment. And when Denny was in here the other day, I realized he was genuine. He was sincere. He sold me. I really believe that this man has the dedication and will do the things it takes to win a championship on that team. I believe in him.
Let's talk about another guy we'll watch today, one of Denny's former teammates at Joe Gibbs Racing, Tony Stewart, winner of 2 of the last 5 of these Brickyard 400 races, driving for Gibbs at that time, but now driving for Stewart Haas Racing that he's one of the owners of. Started the season for that team, better lately. Again, if this is one of the places where the best running teams and drivers win, can Tony win today?
He can win today, Alan. There's no doubt about that. He started off with this brand new team last year pretty strong. Then it kind of fell off the pace just a little bit. But, every time a driver has a little down area in his career, he can go to his favorite racetrack and pick it up. My favorite racetrack was Bristol, Tennessee. Every time I went there, I felt like I could win and get back on track. Tony has won here. I talked to him the other day. He feels really good about it. He said, Rusty, though, I can't carry this car. I've got to get this car handling better for me to win. But I think he can win here.
Well, we'll keep an eye on Tony Stewart from the 15th starting position today. Tony, Jimmy Johnson, and the other drivers anxious to get the pre-race festivities over and begin the 400-mile chase for the checkered flag. When we come back, Juan Pablo Montoya, the pole sitter for today's race, looking to make history for himself and his team owner, Chip Ganassi. That's next when NASCAR Countdown continues from Indianapolis. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where the 17th Brickyard 400 for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series begins 28 minutes and change from now. Drivers again finishing up their introductions, being paraded around this giant 2.5-mile track before the fans that will watch them race 400 miles today. As we dig into some of the nuances of today's race, let's talk about car keys. Not the things you start your car with, but things you need to have right to handle this demanding track. For that, we go to our Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer. Tim?
Alan, everything at Indy has to be very, very perfect. Even this small amount of tape right here. It's been hot the last few days. So when we put this tape on here, what does that do? It affects the straightaway speed because it lowers the drag. It also affects the balance of the car, more downforce in the corner. But by putting this tape up there, we run the water temperature a little bit higher, affecting horsepower. But it has to be perfect every time if you're going to have the horsepower, the drag, and the balance to help you win the race here in Indianapolis.
Little things mean a lot. Thank you, Mr. Brewer. Appreciate it. Let's dig into more of what to watch for today. Talk about some things to keep an eye on as the race progresses. Champion Crew Chief Ray, tires, strategy, tire fall-off, late race strategy. What are we going to see?
All those things. Goodyear brought a good tire. It's doing its job, but it drops off about a second after 10 laps. So I think late race caution, even inside of 5 laps, the guys are going to pit for tires. Track position is very important, so you'll see some guys taking 2 tires, some guys taking 4 tires, which could lead to more green-white checkers, so make sure you got enough gas in there, too.
Speaking of late race restarts, a late race restart changed the outcome of last year's event.
Yeah, it really did. Mark Martin was basically getting ready to walk away with this thing, I thought, in the last few laps, and then Dale Earnhardt Jr. blows the motor with about 32 to go. It allowed Jimmy Johnson to get up on the outside on that restart, and as we all know, he just sailed it off in the corner and never looked back. So you're exactly right.
This is that last restart last year. Mark, as the leader, chose the inside line. Jimmy
Here he
sailed
comes.
around
Here he
him.
comes. Here he comes.
And your winning pass will happen right here. And so we'll see if a late race restart changes the outcome of today's race again here at Indianapolis. Rusty, the whole let 'em race thing about contact in the late laps, how might that play in this race?
It will play, for sure. I mean, this is a lot of money out there, guys. Yeah. I mean, these guys are going to go for the money. They will get aggressive if they got to get aggressive. Why? NASCAR said it's okay. They've been testing their patience all year long. But I believe somebody will use the chrome horn at the end of this race if they need to win this thing.
All right, and the final story is no mistakes. Remember a year ago, Juan Pablo Montoya dominated this race. They made a mistake, a pit road speeding penalty. He got back in traffic. He came off the penalty in 12th place, and he finished in 11th. He never could make up any ground.
Yeah, you just cannot advance your position, but especially late in the race, because everyone's got their best stuff, their best piece at the end of the day, and you cannot advance that position.
And this track position is going to be very, very important. They got to have good pit stops. They got to keep that thing up front.
Yeah,
I agree.
As dominant a car as Montoya had last year, he's got a good one again this year, and he has a chance to make some history for himself and the man on the left is team owner Chip Ganassi. Ganassi already this year has won the 2 biggest races in American motorsports, the Daytona 500 with Jamie McMurray driving and the Indianapolis 500 with Dario Franchitti driving. Ganassi goes for an unprecedented racing trifecta, if you will, today. As for Montoya, he won the Indianapolis 500 in 2000, and a win today would make him the first driver to score both the IndyCar and NASCAR races at this track. Montoya won the Coors Light Pole Award. Dave, he's getting ready to start.
Well, and Alan, of that domination last year and followed by the mistake, Juan has said that he let that go almost immediately, and I take you at your word. I want to ask you, though, today you're in the same situation. If we hold back a little bit, if you got the field covered.
Not really. We just got to do what we do, and that's it, you know. If we know what we need to do. We'll see if the car is fast enough to do what we did last year and hopefully finish the job.
Speaking of fast enough, you know how important track position is here. Can you recall the effort that you as a driver and the team made to put this car on the pole and give you that track position already?
But yeah, I think the time, you know, this target car has been so fast, so dominant. It's pretty good. You know, in race trim, I don't think we were as good as we wanted to be, but we'll see.
Juan going for 2 wins at the Brickyard, this time in a stock car. Jamie?
And Mark Martin is one guy who certainly had his share of great runs at this racetrack. But Alan Gustafson, your crew chief, told me he brought a completely different setup, one that's never been raced, but it's been tested. How can that help you today?
Well, our car's better this week than we've had, and you know the guys have been really working hard on it, and we've been making progress, and it's really starting to show this weekend, especially. The car's strong in all the practices and everything, so we're looking forward to this race, and we're going to keep our head down and keep working and try to keep working our way back toward the top of the heap.
At the last race at Chicago, last lap, you and Juan Pablo Montoya neck and neck, and you both left pretty fired up. How do you balance aggressive driving with just hard-nosed racing?
You know, I race hard, and so does Juan, and so does everybody else in the field. And, some days your frustration gets the best of you, and that's part of the sport. You know, we all really care a lot about what we're doing, or we wouldn't have ever got here in the first place. And so, you know, that's part of it. We plan on racing hard today with a GoDaddy.com Chevy.
And he's starting up front. He qualified third. Alan?
All right, Jamie, thanks. So as we get ready for the opening ceremony, a final thought on some people to watch today. Rusty, I know Montoya's on your mind.
He's all over my radar right now, Alan. He really is. And why? He's won here in Indy. He's got a unique groove around this racetrack. I talked to Jamie McMurray. He said, man, Rusty Juan flat knows to get around, how to get around here. He drives it different. He's a very gifted driver at this particular racetrack. We better take a look at Montoya and keep our eyes on him.
Well, if you're talking about McMurray, let's keep talking about him. I've been high on him all week. I got a feeling that Chip does have a good shot at the trifecta, but McMurray can win the big one. He won Daytona.
He absolutely can. But for me, let's keep an eye on all 43 of these guys. I am so excited. We're at the Brickyard, one of the big events in all of sports. Let's just sit back and enjoy this bad boy. It's going to be great.
You see the grid along the main straightaway of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. It's one of the most unique scenes in sports. Pick another professional sporting event where sponsor representatives and different people get to be on the playing field this close to the start of the game, mingling with the athletes that are about to perform. But shortly they'll be clearing that grid and getting ready to turn them loose in the 17th running of the Brickyard 400. Who's going to get to pucker up and smooch those bricks after 400 miles? The Indianapolis Motor Speedway as the start of the 17th Brickyard 400 draws closer. Our coverage today presented by Golden Corral. A scene so unique in NASCAR, the grandstands on both sides of the track, bringing fans so close. For the competitors along the grid, the buzz of the crowd is loud. It adds to the excitement and the sense of anticipation before one of the biggest races of the year. Time now to go trackside for today's opening ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise and remove your hats for today's invocation to be delivered by the Reverend Howard Brammer.
Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. In Jesus' name, amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing and welcome singer, songwriter, 5-time Grammy winner, 56-time Dove Award winner, Stephen Curtis Chapman with our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous night o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem, Stephen Curtis Chapman. Ladies and gentlemen, overhead for T38 Allen.
Well, time now for the grid to be cleared, for the drivers to climb aboard their cars and buckle in for a tough day's work at one of the sport's most difficult tracks. All the engineering, the strategy sessions, the long hours spent preparing to try and win this race are over. The once-a-year chance to win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway is here.
Now,
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Brickyard 400 is presented by Golden Corral. For the first time ever, Golden Corral is offering unlimited baby back ribs, all for around $10. And in part by Craftsman, the official tools of NASCAR.
This is race day at the world's greatest race course, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
The moment. A fraction of time that favors the bold and yields the greatest reward.
Jeff Gordon, winner of the inaugural Brickyard 400.
Be present, and it may find you. Hesitate, and it's gone. The Brickyard. For nearly a century, racing immortality waits for those who dare chase it. A reigning champion on a reckless pursuit of the record books.
Jimmy Johnson becomes a three-time winner.
With a full tank of self-belief and a feel for the checkered flag, victory has become destiny. A stock car legend must reach back into his pit of steely resolve to recapture what was once so effortless.
For a fourth time, a dominating performance today.
A fifth win on this storied oval, and he stands alone. A racing mogul has dominated here 15 times in May, only to be dismissed come summer. Can his former Cup champion deliver what continues to elude him? An Indy 500 champion now chases glory in another gear. The engine may have changed, but it still runs on fire.
It's Denny Hamlin on the board. Can you say red hot?
Or will a rising superstar with the fight of a warrior dig out this daunting test? For all who dare put their dreams on display, one moment will forever change history. And that moment lies in wait. It waits for the bold, for the final lap, for the unforgiving second. That single moment waits at the Brickyard.
The chance to capture that moment at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway only comes once a year for NASCAR drivers, and it's today. And we're so glad you've joined us for our live coverage of the 17th Brickyard 400. There's so much anticipation that surrounds a big event like this for the drivers now. They have to take that anticipation and turn it to focus, calm the nerves, and muster up the courage it'll take for the flying start through turn one, and the desire it'll take to come out on top of this talented field and place that kiss on the yard of bricks. Let's go trackside.
And now to say the most famous words in motorsports, the chairperson of the board of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, ladies and gentlemen, Mary Hallman George.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Ready. Where you can't see it. Got me? Got me? Well, let me know when they're getting ready to allow you over here. Your lock belt's tight now.
What a great moment it is when the engines fire in Indianapolis. And as we get ready for the green flag, let's head inside the pagoda to a couple of men who know what it's like to win here, and one who's doing a special Indy double of his own. We go to Dale Jarrett, Andy Petrie, and Marty Reed. Gentlemen, take us away.
All right, thank you, Alan. And I got to tell you, no matter how many times I'm privileged enough to be right here, the excitement level never changes. My meter is pegged. And I know for both of us, all three of us, it is special. You share in some of this great history here, and you've always talked about how tough this is as a track to drive.
Yeah, it really is. The opportunity that these drivers have today to special something for them at the end of this day, hoisting that trophy, kissing the bricks, but to get there is such a difficult task. This is such a difficult racetrack for a 3,400-pound stock car trying to negotiate these four distinct corners, flat, only 9 degrees of banking. It is a hard day's work from the cockpit of these race drivers. But at the end of the day, the opportunity to consider yourself and find yourself a Brickyard 400 champion is just unbelievable. So these guys are up for the task, but it is a fun, fun day.
Andy, earlier this week, you said something I've never heard, a description about a track being pure.
Well, the reason I call this a pure racing facility is because it puts a premium on every single thing of that race car and the team. I mean, it takes the best engines. Your car has to have a short track type chassis to go through these flat turns, but you got to go down these long straightaways, and they're 90-degree turns. It's nothing like we race anywhere. And the team, track position, so important that you can't give up an inch anywhere. And so I call it a pure racing facility because it demands excellence, and that's why you only see the best drivers and teams win here.
Well, we've talked to the drivers and about the drivers for the last 2 days about how much pressure they feel. How about if we bring in Sean Pete? He's going to be our over-the-wall reporter. He is the jack man for the 83 of Reed Sorensen. Sean, what's the stress level like for you guys down on pit road?
It's not as high as the heat level, but the guys are ready to go. You know, this is what we do, and you know, it's Indianapolis, so you know, there's added importance today because you know, this track's been around since 1909, so there's a lot of history and prestige here, and you know, you can't help but want to put your best foot forward today.
Sean, you have a great day. Be safe out there.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, and our in-race reporter, you know, we talk about the enormity of Indianapolis. Well, for Clint Boyer and the other 42 drivers, it now focuses down in this narrow little closed cockpit, and we'll talk to our in-race reporter, Clint Boyer, next. It is the Cathedral of Speed, the motor racing capital of the world. It is Indianapolis, and for 100 years, man and machine have challenged this massive monument to motorsports.
103,000 fans attended the largest Super Bowl in history. An attendance record that falls way short of the 250,000 plus that make the Brickyard 400 one of the largest single-day sporting events in the world. The Speedway is so large that it can hold 13 Rose Bowl stadiums. And 2 USS Enterprises can fit in the infield from the front to the back stretch. That infield is so long that it can fit the entire length of the George Washington Bridge. And crossing that bridge, a Sprint Cup car will reach top speeds of over 205 miles per hour. Behold the size, the speed, and the power of the Indianapolis.
Massive facility is this 2.5-mile historic Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We talk about its enormity, but now for the 43 drivers, as we mentioned just before the break, it's that closed-in feeling, that lonely feeling, because you're in that cockpit all by yourself, and our in-race reporter is Clint Boyer. Let's find out what he's thinking, DJ.
Hey, Clint, Dale Jarrett, ESPN. You have a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Dale.
Hey, Clint, our first question comes from our ESPN mailbag, and we searched far and wide for these. Daniel from Wollongong, New South Wales, wants to know the confidence level seems high with the entire RCR team this season. How are you feeling coming into the Brickyard today?
Yeah, certainly, you know, coming off our good run there in Chicago, confidence is high. Got a little pep in our step, which is what we needed. Got us back in the chase. All 3 cars at RCR in the chase. We're all proud of that. Guys built me a brand new Wheaties Fuel Chevrolet for Indy. Things fast right off the truck, and we aim to have a good race. So we're going to have a good race right here at Indy. That's going to carry us all right into the chase.
Hey, Clint, I'm sure that somewhere along the way this week, you've allowed yourself, especially knowing how good your car is, to think about the possibility of hoisting that trophy and kissing these bricks at the end of the day. What would that mean to you?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you know, imagine a kid growing up in Kansas, beating up and down the road, racing dirt tracks, to be able to get a race here at Indy just means a lot to me, you know, in particular. But to be able to win here, have a shot at winning is everything.
All right, Clint, thanks for talking with us today. Have a great day. We'll talk with you later on. Now, Andy's going to talk to your crew chief, Shane Wilson.
Thanks.
Hello, Shane Wilson. Andy Petrie in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, 10-4, Andy. Go ahead.
Hey, Shane, it takes a fast car and good strategy to win here. You got a fast car. If it happens to come down to, say, a fuel mileage run, how do you guys stack up on that?
Well, the guys at ECR built us some really good engines. Some of the problems with that, sometimes the fuel is probably, you know, middle of the road, I'd say, but we definitely tuned for power today, and hope it doesn't come down to that.
Well, it does come down to a short run, sometimes a green-white checker, a lot of these races. How do you feel like you could stack up if it does come down to that kind of a finish?
Well, you know, based off practice and qualifying, you know, our cars had really good speed all weekend, you know, between the power and the, you know, the good car we built, a lot of lead, a lot of good downforce. You know, we've had good speed. Just want to thank everybody at RCR and ECR for providing us with good equipment this weekend.
Okay, Shane, thanks for talking to us, and good luck today.
Thank you.
And as the teams continue on the pace laps, let's throw a little trivia out there for you guys. Who won the pole the very first Brickyard 400, now soon to be 17 races ago?
That's my good friend Rick Mast.
Yeah, and his car owner, Richard Jackson, was the pole-winning car owner for that race.
And he did it at a speed about 172 and change. And for the 13th straight year, we've had a different pole sitter here. It's Juan Pablo Montoya. Of course, he won the 2000 Indianapolis 500. Can he become the first to win that race and the Brickyard 400? Well, we'll find out in about 160 laps. The grid comes across the top of your screen. We will point out 2 cars going to the rear, the 20 of Joey Logano and the 64 of Todd Bodine. Both of those 4 engine changes. All right, let's get the latest updates from pit road before we go green. Vince Welch, you're up.
Well, Marty, Jeff Gordon cut his racing teeth here in Indiana. Today, he goes for a 5th Brickyard 400 victory. It's also a special homecoming event for a couple of other native Hoosiers, Tony Stewart and Ryan Newman, their teammates. Stewart has won here twice before, and his crew chief, Darian Grubb, told me this morning they believe they have a car that can be a player here today, potentially getting a 3rd win. For Ryan Newman, he hasn't had much success here, and his season has been filled with as much bad break as good break. The 39 team needs something to turn its season around, and there would be no better place for that something to happen here today at Indy. Jamie?
Well, one driver to watch today is the 51-year-old Mark Martin. Not only is this one of his best racetracks, but he comes here with a vengeance. After the last race in Chicago, he had an on-track altercation with Juan Pablo Montoya. He got out of his race car and said, "I haven't been that mad since 1994. You put that on top of the fact he wants to prove to the world this race team is better than where they are in the stats. He's desperately looking for that first win of the year. This could be the day and the track to get it done. Doc?
Well, Jamie, it has already been a very busy weekend for Kyle Busch, who is running his 3rd race in as many days. Now, Friday night, he finished 2nd in the NASCAR Camping World Truck Race. Last night, over at Riley Raceway Park, in spite of not having any practice, he held off a late charge by Carl Edwards to pick up his 8th NASCAR Nationwide Series win of the year. Now, the bad news. Yesterday, here in final happy hour practice, his Cup car was only 26th fastest, prompting the crew to totally change the setup, something they had earlier in the weekend, which means Kyle could have his hands full early on. He starts 23rd here today.
Doc, I'm up here with the crew for Kevin Harvick as they watch the field go by. Yesterday during the hot practice sessions, they received a radio transmission from Kevin. Kevin said, and I quote, "You made it a tremendous amount better." And the same can be said for their 2010 season versus last year. Last year coming into this race, no wins, 25th in points. This year, 2 wins, 103 championship points ahead of everybody else. Performance like that can give you confidence at the Brickyard and maybe take you on your way out of here to the championship. Marty?
All right, thanks, Dave. Let's set the analysis of what we're going to unfold before you. We have a distance of 400 miles that'll turn into 160 laps. Our pit road speed will be 55 miles an hour, and I guarantee you Juan Pablo Montoya will not get caught speeding this year. Let's talk about that pit window.
Yeah, it's around 30 to 35 laps, and that's a pretty big window, but we do hear some of the teams that, kind of tune their engines for power, some for mileage.
Yeah, and that 9 degrees of banking in the corners is one of the things that makes this place so difficult. Nothing to lean on there. Drivers have to work extremely hard throughout this day.
On the back stretch of the final pace lap, let's listen in on Jimmy Johnson's radio.
All right, fellas, just like what we spoke about, nice smooth day today. All we got to do is do our jobs right, and I think we're going to have a fantastic day. It's going to be a lot of fun.
You're on board with Jimmy. He'll start on the outside of the front row. Chad Knaus on the box calling all the shots. Who wins this thing today, this 17th running of the Brickyard 400? Juan Pablo Montoya? Does he give Chip Ganassi the trifecta? Or does Jeff Gordon become the first man ever to win 5 times on the oval here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway? We'll find out over the course of the next 160 laps.
Hey, Dale, how much are you willing to hang it out here to try to lead this first lap? How important is it?
That's not that important to me. That lap 160 is one that's most important. This is very treacherous. Going into this first corner, you have to be extremely careful.
Crowd is coming to its feet. The Chevrolet Corvette pace car will be pulling down pit road, making that left turn right there. And here comes Juan Pablo Montoya and Jimmy Johnson and the 17th Brickyard 400 at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway, with Dallas Clark of the Indianapolis Colts on the tower, waves the green flag, and we are green. Saw Jeff Gordon get a little close to the wall in turn 2. Juan Pablo Montoya turbo already down in turn 2. Sam Hornish has turned around. The 18 of Kyle Busch is going around. Hornish still in the middle of the racetrack. Look out. That was close.
Looked like Kyle Busch got by without much damage, but you see Hornish has damage, and also looks like Reed Sorensen.
Definitely Reed Sorensen in it. There is Sam as he has turned around. The 2006 Indy 500 winner. Also, the winner just a couple of weeks ago, David Rudiman.
We had a big amount of rain last night.
Left side tires up, David.
This track was very green when this race started.
Yeah, that outside groove is always very slick to start this race. And as you pointed out, Andy, with no rubber there whatsoever, the whole racetrack's going to have a lot of slickness to it.
In fact, so much rain that NASCAR calls for a mandatory caution at lap 15.
Looks like Elliott Sadler going down there, too, might have had some damage.
You see just a little damage on the left front fender from Kyle Busch's car there, but man, Reed Sorensen's car is destroyed.
Todd Bodine also in it. Here we go.
Looks like Kyle's one sideways.
Yeah, looked like Kyle got sideways and into Hornish. There's 0 into Elliott Sadler's 19.
Yeah, and then you see Reed, and that's where he gets all his damage. He kind of KOs the wall, and then Elliott Sadler. Looks like Bobby Labonte got into it. See a splitter laid on the track, maybe Sadler.
Another angle from down lower. Boy, Hornish, it's amazing he didn't get tagged again. I mean, he was still in the middle of the racetrack.
Yeah, but I think he got into the wall right there with the right rear of his car. That's a significant amount of damage for him. These two things kind of happened at the same time right there. I'm not sure that the two of those contacted the 18 and the 77 to start this.
Almost looks like two separate spins.
Yeah.
But you have to almost think they're related here.
Well, let's get an update from pit road. What are you hearing, Doc?
Well, it looks to be minimal damage on the left front for Kyle Busch. They couldn't really see coming around. They had the spotter looking, and Kyle was asking about it. They're going to put some bearer bond on an area that's been needs a patch there on the left front. They fixed the grill as they are trying to get what they figured was very, very minimal damage now on the Toyota of Kyle Busch. Vince.
Well, the 77 of Sam Hornish did sustain damage on the left rear quarter panel, but most of the damage, the heaviest damage, is in the rear of the car and around the right side on the rear. So the team over the wall, obviously, and working feverishly on the back end of that car. And as I believe DJ indicated, the heaviest damage on the right rear quarter panel. Also, the 47 of Marcus Ambrose came in to clean the grill and the splitter to head back out. A lot of cars had a little contact in that melee.
So already several teams' hopes have been dashed as far as their chances of potentially winning this 17th running of the Brickyard 400. As you see Elliott Sadler's crew sprinting back towards the garage area. The 18 of Kyle Busch going back out onto the racetrack. So stay with us. We're under our first caution here at Indy. Back here at the Brickyard 400 presented by Golden Corral, we're under our first caution on a first lap multi-car crash, and we're going to take you back and show you exactly what happened, because Sam Hornish was right behind Kyle Busch as they entered turn number 2. Here we go.
You see the two cars right here as they're coming off turn 2 or turn 1. They're going into turn 2, and Sam Hornish is actually behind Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and somewhere along the way right here, they're going to run out of our frame, and we're not sure if Sam Hornish got into Kyle Busch and turned him, or if it was that Kyle just got sideways and then he clipped the 77 just a little, and that started him spinning. So the accident started with those two cars, and not exactly sure if there was contact from the 77 to the 18 or not. See if we can see here. Now Kyle Busch is sideways right there. Yeah, Kyle Busch already was sideways. He got loose entering turn 2. And then he clipped the right rear of the 77 to send him spinning.
So we can tell you Elliott Sadler is behind the wall. So is Reed Sorensen. Sam Hornish is 1 lap down. And also Dave Blaney has parked it, as he is our first start and park of the day. There are the total cars that are involved in this incident. Vince?
Well, the 20 car of Joey Logano came in once and went back out and felt like the car was overheating. Actually thought maybe he hit a brake rotor, so he did a little bit of damage to that front end of the car. So the team repairing that right now, just checking to make sure that they've gotten everything taken care of, because when they came in the first time, they just cleaned grass out of the grill and didn't believe they had any front end damage. Once Joey got back out on the track, they figured otherwise. So they brought Joey Logano back in, repairing the front end of the car so they can hopefully have something to work with here as we get beyond these initial laps.
And as a 2.5-mile track, you can get a lot of work done under caution. Joey, of course, started back in the back of the pack. We'll be back right after this. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, built back in 1909, originally with 3.2 million bricks. That's why we call it the Brickyard. We're under our first caution after a multi-car crash and turn 2. Time for us to give you the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year Award update. Jeff Gordon's crew is currently in the lead, but you can help determine the standings. Vote from your AT&T phone by texting the car number to 2258 for the pit crew you think is the fastest and most valuable. All right, we heard Vince talking earlier about Joey Logano saying he might have hit a brake rotor. Well, we dug up the video and take a look as we take you back.
See all this debris. When these cars hit the wall, right there, big piece of debris looked like it was a piece of brake rotor off of Reed Sorensen's car after he hit that wall. Probably lucky if it didn't put a hole in the radiator. Looks like it caught the corner of the car.
Now, we also saw the 18 involved, and Dr. Jerry Punch has an update.
Marty, remember I told you how bad Kyle was in final practice yesterday, 26th overall. He said the car was just so tight, so he left here to go out to ORP to race a nationwide race. And Dave Rogers, the guy, said, we're going to loosen the car up. They changed some nose weight around, and they changed some cambers in the front of the car to be able to get it nice and loose. A moment ago, Kyle said he went in the corner, he felt fine, and the car just jumped sideways out from under him. He had no idea it was going to get out from under him that quickly.
All right, thanks, Doc. And remember last year he had a tire that let go on him, and that's what took him out of contention in last year's race. He's right now shown in 36th position. So we're getting ready to go one more time around. Gives us a little more time to talk about, okay, we've got this competition caution. We'll have to check and see if NASCAR may move it back now, because what they want to do is check tire wear because of all the rubber that got washed off last night in the rain.
Yeah, pretty heavy rains last night, and we know how this track is kind of sensitive to tire wear, so NASCAR probably wants to make sure that with the green racetrack that everything's, all the tires look good, and I say 15 laps is a good number.
Yeah, but we're going to be at lap 7 here and really haven't run more than 2 corners actually on the tires, so you have to wonder if they might extend this up to around the 20 lap mark to make sure that we get some green flag laps on the tires.
As soon as we get the news, we'll update you. And they're letting us know that as of right now, it has not been changed, but the officials are considering that. Let's reset it for you. You've got Montoya. He's decided to choose the inside. It'll be Jimmy Johnson alongside again. Then Mark Martin, Jamie McMurray, Ryan Newman, Greg Biffle, Clint Boyer, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, and Kevin Harvick. That's your top 10. Now, the 77 is being penalized excessive speed. Vince?
Well, you noted the penalty for the speeding of Sam Hornish Jr. in the pit lane. That's why they're holding him now. Just chatted with crew chief Travis Geisler a moment ago, and he said nothing structural damaged on the race car, all body parts. He said really a lot of aero damage. And of course, guys, you know at this racetrack, aero is everything, and it's certainly going to be a tough road to hoe for Sam Hornish Jr. the rest of the way with all the extensive damage on the back end of this race car.
Yeah, Vince, I think I'd rather have a bent snout than have the body tore up like that, because this track is so aero sensitive.
Well, this is going to put him 2 laps down now, as he is shown right now in 40th position. Also off the track now, we can report Michael McDowell. We already reported about Blaney, Sadler, and Reed Sorensen in the 83. So let's get ready to try and start all over again. We didn't make it through lap number 1 before we had caution, but the Chevrolet Corvette pace car turns down pit road, and here they come down the long front straightaway here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The fans come back to their feet. Still have not seen the green flag. Getting close to the restart line, and they're waiting and waiting. That's how long it takes. Here we go. We're racing again at Indy. See Sam Horner's coming back onto the track there on the warm-up lane. Boy, Montoya's look good. Here we go, 3 wide. That's not going to work, but Smoke makes it work as he clears in the middle of the corner.
If you're that guy going on the inside, you've got a lot better chance in a 3-wide situation, but that's not something you want to be doing on lap 7. They made it through.
It's pretty impressive seeing Tony Stewart now. He wasn't that great in practice, but maybe these cooler conditions in a green racetrack has kind of played in his favor.
Look at Kevin Harvick gets around Jeff Gordon, makes a nice move there in the 29.
Yeah, it looks like Gordon's car is sliding around a little bit. Saw Ryan Newman and a couple others get by him also.
The 24 started in the 8th position. He's already dropped back those 2 spots, and he's losing a little bit more ground to Harvick. Here they come down the front straightaway. We're going to try 3 wide maybe? No, they're going to think better of it.
Yeah, as I talk to these drivers, though, they seem to think that this spoiler, with the bigger hole in the air that it was making, it was going to allow them to do a lot more drafting down these long straightaways and make some passes as they enter the corner.
Man, I'm impressed with Tony Stewart making all these passes. His car was nowhere near this good in practice, but looking really strong today.
Yeah, he was not happy on Friday. Vince?
Well, they got the race car pretty good in those final practices on Saturday, and Darian Grubb told me this morning, he said, I think we've got a real good baseline for the car. He said it's going to start off with a green track, so we think the car is going to be a little bit free. So we're going to start snug because that's what we learned from the tire test here, and that's exactly the way that this situation has played out. But bad news for Stewart's teammate, the 39 of Ryan Newman, slowing down, Marty.
Yeah, he's got a flat tire, and boy, he almost went into the wall, and he can't get to pit road. Now he can finally duck down and make it into pit road. But this is going to cost him as we are staying green. He was 7th.
He was one of those cars that was 3 wide, I saw, as they entered the corner. Maybe made some contact with that left rear tire. See right there, the left rear smoking.
With a heartbreak for Newman, he had a good start. He was running in the 7th position, and now all of a sudden he finds himself 55 miles an hour, struggling to get back to pit road. There's his crew.
Side tires, left side tires right here. Left side tires.
Here comes your race leader, Juan Pablo Montoya, followed by Jimmy Johnson, Mark Martin, and Jamie McMurray, and they're coming out of 4, and he is definitely going to go 1 lap down. So bad news for Ryan Newman. He just leaves pit road now. Montoya has opened up a 7/10 of a second lead.
We're seeing lap times that are quite a bit faster even than happy hour practices where they ran their fastest laps. The racetrack is really fast right now.
Let's go back and show you what happened to Ryan Newman.
You can see him already out of the groove right there, having that tire go down.
He's on board with Dale Jr.
He got extremely loose getting into turn 3. Didn't know at that time that he had a flat tire.
Tell you what, the guys that are clipping the dirt there and kicking it up onto the track, that's not very good. It's going to make it kind of greasy. And all of a sudden, here comes Carl Edwards in for an unscheduled pit stop. And we're getting the report that he was running hot. He was 17th when he came in. Still got a report that Ryan Newman's car is continuing to smoke. And there, oh, he's got another left rear.
He's got a tire rub. You can see that quarter panel right behind the tire was bent in. Could have been from contact from the rear, pushed that in close to that tire. We're going to have to fix that this time.
So it has gone from bad to worse for Ryan Newman. And here comes Denny Hamlin in on lap 11. And look at the water.
His car's running hot also. That's what that is, an overflow. And it starts pushing water out when it starts boiling that water.
Yeah, and I think a lot of this may be coming from debris that we saw over there. There was a lot of debris, and trying to get all of that cleaned up before these guys come through there a time or two. And I think that might be what we're seeing here.
He was 15th, and you notice they're not putting fuel in because we have that competition caution still to come, and that's when you're going to have to wait until you put fuel in, until after that. And there you saw A.J. Allmendinger also on pit road. So a lot of cars early here having trouble.
Now, Carl Edwards has remained on the lead lap because they just pitted just to get some tape off as we see them trying to work on this 39 car.
Let's go. That'll be good now. It'll be good.
Yeah, it looks like they got it fixed right there. Had to get that tire clear of that fender.
Yeah, and what they can count on is it's a long day, and since we have the lucky dog rule, things like that, they can find themselves back on the lead lap. Just have to be patient.
12 car, Brad Keselowski has come down pit road as well. No problems, though, for Juan Montoya. Doc?
12 car on pit road. Now, we saw a moment ago that 99 came in as well. They said they got grass on the grill. Some of these guys clipping the grass as they go through the corners, getting some grass in the front of the grill and causing overheating. They pulled tape off the 99 and now tape off the 12 car.
Yeah, you see all that steam coming out. Now, we saw earlier, and Marty, you brought it up, how they were clipping that grass down there, kicking it up on the racetrack in front of these cars. And these cars do not like that. I'm telling you, you can get that grill clogged up in a second if you get that grass blowing up off the track.
He was running 14th before he came in for that unscheduled stop. Let's check in the Craftsman Tech Garage with Tim Brewer.
Marty, one of the most vulnerable areas on the race car is right here at the splitter. This is where all the grass comes up, and once you stop this area up, you got to get that area clean. But before the race in the countdown show, we showed where the guys, colder weather here, you can put more tape on it, but if you get greedy, the engine's going to run really hot.
All right, Tim, thanks for that update. Let's also update you on some other cars. Blaney has gone back out. He's 8 laps down on the track. Robbie Gordon, another car in on pit road. Jamie, what's the latest there?
Absolutely, same thing. Overheating for the 7. He's yelling to his crew. He didn't want tires. Just get that grass off the grill. That was the exact same problem with Denny Hamlin, guys. And the 39er, Ryan Newman, it was a fender rub. They think they got it.
All right, thanks, Jamie. You saw right there on the left side of your screen, the 33 of Clint Boyer trying to get around the 12, Brad Keselowski. We also wanted to update you that the 55 of Michael McDowell is back out. He's 3 laps down.
Now look
and
at
the 88's in.
I'm telling you, I've never seen anything like this. You know, it's just all these cars running hot just because of this grass kicking up.
Vince?
Yeah, that was exactly the situation for the 88. He was overheating, so they had to come in and get a little tape off the front end. As you see, the 13 with a problem.
Oh, and we've got multiple problems. That's Robbie Gordon as he has shredded the right front.
I have to wonder if maybe Robbie Gordon making that green flag pit stop might have slid the front tires coming to pit road as he tried to get down to pit road speed.
Second caution of the day here as we have completed 14 of the required laps. And boy, the 13 is still on fire. Max Pappas was so thrilled that he had made his first Brickyard 400. He has qualified twice for the Indianapolis 500. He said, Marty, I've made Daytona and Indy and now the Brickyard. And it looks like his day is over.
And these crew chiefs really, to help their cars handle it, put a lot of tape on the front end to try to make sure that they can turn. But in turn, then it's biting them whenever they get just a little bit of debris there.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think there's just that this car is just so vulnerable to that. I don't care how much tape you've got on there, even if it's wide open. When you start stacking that grass in there, it virtually blocks it off. And, you know, I've never seen this many cars have that kind of problem so quickly.
Robbie Gordon limping back to pit road. And right now, we have 32 cars on the lead lap after 15 laps.
Yeah, I think this is just exactly what you said, Dale. He was coming down pit road, Robbie Gordon, and slid that right front tire trying to get on pit road, get it clear, and get back out and not lose a lap. But so this caution really kind of brought out by this, whatever this is, this grass getting up in the grills of all these cars.
Okay, NASCAR has told crews they can refuel. So pit road, when it opens up, you may see a bunch of takers this time by. Juan Montoya is probably wondering what's going on. He's had clean air and a beautiful view, and it's been kind of lively behind him.
Yeah, you don't get that debris if you're the lead dog.
Yeah, he goes back and watches the tape of this race and see everything we were trying to show and trying to keep up with all this. He'll be amazed at what was going on.
It's making me dizzy.
Yeah.
Well, Juan's going to take, and so are all the others right behind him. Jimmy Johnson, Mark, and right on through. Here comes the field. Let's go to pit road. Vince, you're up.
Well, Tony Stewart has had a good car so far today. They set it up to be a little bit snug because they thought the car would be loose at the start, and then the plan was to free it up on this first stop. So they're going to make a 4-tire change, give him a little bit more freer race car for the 14 of Tony Stewart. 4 tires and fuel. Jamie?
And Mark Martin says he's just a tick loose. They're going to make a wedge adjustment right side. So the grill on the 5 looks good, Doc.
Jimmy Johnson has no complaints. Right side tire, putting the grill, and he is gone. How about Montoya Day?
He said, clean the grill. I know I got grass on it. They gave him 2 tires full of Sunoco fuel. He'll get beat off pit road by Jimmy Johnson. But Juan Montoya wanted a slight track bar adjustment for a loose race car.
And Jimmy Johnson pulled out onto the racetrack instead of taking the warm-up lane.
That's going to be costly right there.
Unless they were told they could do this.
Okay,
because of the blown tire
here.
Yeah.
All right, so NASCAR officials have confirmed that it was okay for him to go out immediately onto the racetrack. Let's go back and take another look at. Watch Montoya's crew. The tire change, the guy barely got out of the way.
Yeah, and he was spinning the tires a little bit there too. But I think because of the oil and everything that's happened here, that's why they allowed him to go out, straight out on the racetrack.
Word we're getting was they were actually cleaning part of that access road. That's why the guys were told they could go out onto the racetrack. So, what we thought could have been a very disastrous moment turns out to be okay for the 48. Stay with us.
Round the bases with ESPN tonight and tomorrow night. First, Albert Pujols and the Cardinals take on division rival the Chicago Cubs on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern. Then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, it is the Detroit Tigers and the Tampa Bay Rays. Both games also available on ESPN3.com. Second caution of the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. What's kind of been a bizarre start to the race from the pit studio with Rusty, Brad, and Ray. And Rusty, you're looking at this grass on the inside of the corners and saying culprit.
Yeah, that is the culprit right there. You can see the concrete is, you know, it's been added down there, and the car's actually running right down on that concrete. But what happens when they run out of concrete? They hit grass. The grasses actually need to be cut down farther. If there's such thing, the grass being too tall, we got a classic case of this right here.
But you know what? I think one of the main issues here is that it's so wet. Look at that. I mean, it's like a grass soup being thrown up onto the racetrack, getting in some of these air dams and causing some of these cars to overheat. I just think it's moist and thick.
And guys, they run such a small opening here. Remember, we talked about aerodynamics and tape, and it's so small, it packs really quick. It doesn't take a lot.
Can I make another suggestion, Rusty? Tell the drivers to stop driving through the grass and stay on the pavement.
There is that.
Hey, look, it looks like the 11 car down there. Denny Hamlin's also working on the front of his car. Some type of problem there. But going back to the issue with the racetrack, these teams need to be aware of this because, man, there are so many cars overheating. And I'm telling you, you got a hard surface down there. A driver's going to try to put that left front tire down there. This could cause a problem as this race goes on.
All right, so Denny Hamlin and Dale Jr. rejoining the race as we work the second caution already, just 18 laps in. What a bizarre start to this thing that it's been, Marty.
Thank you, Alan. There's our Aaron's lucky dog, Brad Keselowski. He gets back on the lead lap, gives us 32 cars on the lead lap. Denny Hamlin, by the way, is 1 lap down, right behind A.J. Allmendinger, who's also 1 lap down. They are 33rd and 34th, respectively. At the front of the field, I know this may sound a little different, but it's going to be the 34 of Kevin Conway. In his first Brickyard 400, he stayed out at that time, and we're waiting for the wave around on some of these cars. And right now, scoring shows Conway and Nemechek, Joe Nemechek, as the two that stayed out. There goes Sam Hornish on the wave around.
Yeah, I think Kevin Conway made a pit stop now just so we get the 1 to go, but Joe Nemechek has chosen to stay out there.
You're right. Conway did come down pit road. 2 wave arounds, Bobby Labonte and Sam Hornish Jr., so you get updated there. So Joe Nemechek is your race leader in front of Jimmy Johnson, Juan Pablo Montoya, Mark Martin, Jamie McMurray, Martin Truex Jr. now in the 6th.
You see all this oil right here from Max Pappas's car that blew up. You saw the fire. Saw that oil coming out of the engine there, and they pushed him to the garage area.
Well, and this was a question. I mean, here you have Jimmy Johnson, who qualified 2nd, and that's the pit box that they selected, and that's right in front of Gasoline Alley where everybody is going to turn.
Well, they're going to clean it up. That's why you saw them out there working on it. The good news for Jimmy Johnson's team is it's not in their pit box, so they'll get a good launch out of there. It shouldn't be a problem for them. Now you see Joe Nemechek dropping back.
Yeah, Joe on the right side of your screen, discretion the better part of valor. He knows he does not have the horses and doesn't want to probably create a big mess.
You know, I agree with Rusty. I think this story is going to keep going on with this grass getting in these grills because these cars are looking for the bottom of the racetrack trying to find the fastest way, and they're going to keep clipping that grass.
So Jimmy Johnson now taking over the race lead. He'll choose the inside line, and yes, I know that we might as well acknowledge it. There are empty seats this year, even a few more than last year. I'm sure that people will be writing and talking all about it, and there are a dozen reasons. We're not going to go into that. We're going to focus on the race as the pace light is turning down pit road. And we have completed what will be 20 laps. And when he turns down this time by, coming down towards the green flag. Dallas Clark is still up in the tower. Reminds us of Jack Nicholson. He stayed up there for quite a while for the Indy 500. Back to green flag racing.
You could see Montoya try to get over there on the right rear corner of Jimmy Johnson's car to see if he could stay up beside him and maybe make a pass here.
So far, so good.
Boy, Montoya, he likes that groove, and boy, he is making it work. Kenny clearing, coming out of 2. Jimmy says, hold on a second. We're going to try and go down the backstretch side by side. He's got a little help from Mark Martin behind him.
See Montoya once again trying to get over and side draft a little bit, slow Jimmy down. It worked.
Here comes Montoya again on that higher line. Through 3. This time, can he hold on to it on the north chute? He's got the position.
Impressive pass right there.
It's hard enough to pass on the outside on an Indy car, let alone with one of these 3,400-pound sleds. Holy smokes, what a great move.
Well, he just did everything textbook that you have to do. He side drafted him twice, got that car slowed down a little bit, and then was able to dive off in the corner ahead of Jimmy.
Little action further back there is Clint Boyer trying to get underneath Joey Logano. Logano sliding up the track. This could cost him more than just a few spots.
Yeah, it's not where you want to be there. You get outside of that groove, and it's very slick. No grip at all.
David Reagan also going by. Keep an eye on the 14 car as well. He was back in that mix coming through.
If you remember, Joey Logano pitted there. You see all the tape on the front. He got tires in. That's when they wouldn't let him fuel. So when he came down pit road earlier, he probably just got gas and got back out and stole some track position, but he's paying for that, having these tires with a few more laps on them.
Jeff Burton underneath him. Here comes Paul Menard. They head their way in through 4.
How about Kyle Busch there in that mix too?
Kurt Busch going through underneath the 14. Well, I'll tell you what, we have had a lot of early action here, and for a place that's been traditionally known as hard to pass, we've had a lot of passing.
Well, I think what these guys talked about with the bigger hole that these cars were making in the air, that it was going to allow them to do a lot more drafting and passing.
Clint Boyer goes underneath the 9 of Casey Kane. Move Boyer into the top 10.
Speaking with Clint Boyer the other day, he was very confident that he had a car that was going to allow him to race up front the majority of the day, get himself in a position to try to win this race.
There you see Jeff Gordon. Gordon right now running in the 8th position with Harvick right behind him in 9th.
I'd have to think both of these guys are pretty content right now at sitting there, filling their cars out, letting the racetrack go through the changes, getting some rubber back down, and see if all of this can work to their advantage and work on their car throughout the day.
Well, Pablo Montoya has opened up almost a full second lead, Dave.
Marty, that power move that he did on Jimmy Johnson around the outside might say something about his demeanor this weekend. Brian Pattia's crew chief told me that he's been very calm this weekend. What does it mean? He said, I think it means when he gets to a place that he can call his zone, that he can call his domain, he's very calm and very confident on the racetrack. And that kind of maneuvering right there, that shows you Juan's not giving anything up today.
Ryan on the right side of your screen. And remember, in the pre-race show, they were talking about the different line. Jamie McMurray was saying he has a different line around this racetrack.
Yeah, those IndyCar guys like to do that late turn in to try to get the angle of the corner, and it really takes a different setup to be able to do that, because most of these drivers drive in there just a little bit shallower, stock car drivers do, than that IndyCar line, and I think they've really figured out how to make it work.
Matt Kenseth started 13th. He's been slowly, quietly staying out of all the trouble and moving up into the 4th position. He's finished second here twice. Ooh, he saw a little wiggle from behind, and Jamie McMurray, he gathers it back in. Meanwhile, his teammate Juan Pablo Montoya has opened up a full 1-second lead over Jimmy Johnson. There's your top 5 after 24 of 160. It's your car, your drive, and your chance to win. Enter for a chance to meet a Team Chevy driver and win your favorite Chevrolet at winyourchevy.com. And back here at the Brickyard 400, Chevrolet drivers, they've won the last 7 Brickyard 400s, 11 of the 16 that have been held, and they are running 1, 2, and 3 right now. Then on through to 5th, 8th, 9th, 10th, and 12th. And yes, they qualified 9 out of the top 10, so it's been a banner weekend for Chevrolet, guys. All right, let's set it for you. While we were gone, Juan Pablo Montoya has stretched his lead from 1 second to 2 seconds over Mark Martin. Dave, what's the latest?
Marty, that clean air is certainly his best friend right now, but he thinks he might have a problem. Listen to the radio.
Right front tires loose. Right front tires loose. Still plenty of room.
I mess around just to make sure that wasn't some kind of a telling a chassis condition. You know, my right front, I'm somehow looser there, but no, the team's confirming that if it's something like that, it may be an issue on the right front. The tire changers think they got everything tight, but Juan's feeling something right now.
Well, let's go back to last night's nationwide race over to ORP. Kyle Busch thought he had a tire loose, and it turned out that it wasn't the case. Could it be buildup or something else?
Well, it could be anything from a tire being out of balance. You change these sets of tires, and they sometimes have a little different feel to them. And right now, we see lap times that Juan Montoya's running are very fast. I would watch that. If I saw it fall off or hear something else from him, I would think maybe we need to do something.
Well, he's not slowing down to check it out or fill it out a little bit more because he's running faster than anybody on the racetrack still. So I have a hard time believing. But sometimes you get a feel as a driver as to exactly what's happening. We see Biffle try to take that spot away from his teammate, Matt Kenseth.
This is our best battle near the front of the field, the battle for fourth. Kenseth took a look, or Biffle, I should say, took a look under his teammate, Matt Kenseth. Could not get it done. Now he loses that momentum and falls back.
Yeah, I talked to Greg Biffle last night about his race car, how it was in practice. He said really in that final practice, he was extremely happy with what they had. He thought that it was going to be fast enough and drive good enough to give him an opportunity to win today.
Let's get an update on the 17. What's the latest, Dave?
Well, and really how they got here, Marty. Remember, Matt doesn't fancy himself a great qualifier, and his best qualifying here had been 10th. His second best yesterday, 13th. And that was after being a full second behind Montoya in mock qualifying runs on Friday. They worked on the car, and Saturday when they put it on the track, they were only 4 seconds off the pole sitter. Even though he may be passed by his teammate right now, very happy that they're starting up front in the 17 car.
Greg Biffle takes over that position, so move him into fourth. Kenseth back to fifth. Then it's McMurray and Harvick, 6th and 7th. See them at the top of the screen, and boy, now that Biffle has cleared him, he's pulling away. Great view as they come out of turn number 4, and you can see that everybody's sort of calmed down now, and we're in single file. We've got Kyle Busch. Let's get an update on him as we take a look throughout the field. Kyle restarted 32nd on lap 8 after being involved in that first lap caution. Doc?
He is moving his way, Marty, back toward the top 10, being shown now in 13th position. You know, Kyle had commented about how tight the car was yesterday, and boy, did they loosen it up, as you saw on lap 1 when he spun it around. But if anybody can drive a loose race car in the Cup Series, it is Kyle Busch. Kyle said, loosen it up where I can turn it in the corner, and I will get there. And, folks, he is on his way now trying to move in on that 9 car for 12th position.
So never count Kyle out as he is coming back through the field. Let's get an update on the 99. Remember, he had that unscheduled pit stop for Carl Edwards, and now you see Carl as he cycled all the way back from 23rd and now finds himself into 16th. Take a look at the biggest mover since the restart, and it is Carl Edwards moving up 7 positions. Kevin Harvick and Dale Earnhardt Jr. up 6 each. Meanwhile, up front, well, Montoya's lead has dropped a little bit. Instead of being 2 seconds, it is now 1.7 seconds, but I don't think he's got a loose tire after all. Welcome back to the Brickyard 400 presented by Golden Corral as we are working now. Lap number 37. You saw Juan Pablo Montoya going around some slower traffic. Make sure to go to Goodyear.com to check out Goodyear Support Our Troops program. There you can send a thank you message from a NASCAR driver, enter for a chance to win a 2011 Ford Taurus and other great prizes. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with Juan Pablo Montoya's car. He's now back to a 2-second lead over Mark Martin. But the real battle.
Hey, here there it says it's getting worse.
Well, if it's getting worse, he's still going pretty doggone good. This is the best battle we've got going up front. Jimmy Johnson's got his hands full with Greg Biffle. Biffle now in the 4th position, and they are running very, very close lap times, and it looks like Biffle's closing on him, guys.
Yeah, it really is. Greg Biffle's doing an excellent job here. And a number of these drivers told me, though, the problem is when they get basically this close where they think they can make the pass, that they lose a lot of the front end, the downforce on the front end. It makes it difficult for them to turn under. It looks like Biffle's going to get the job done right here, though.
Jimmy, you can hurt him. You breathe the throttle. He says, yep, he's faster. It's too early in the race. Let him go. Biffle finished a Brickyard best 4th in this race last year. He was the best, finishing forward. And he is the first Ford to crack the top 3 now, as there goes Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, he said that vibration's getting worse. And if I'm the crew chief, I'm getting worried now, because I would hope that he would calm down a little bit and say, okay, maybe it's staying the same and it's okay because the lap times are good. But here he comes, guys. He's coming down pit road.
So here we are working lap number 38 of 160. And remember, we had the competition caution back on lap 15. So that gives you an idea just how far they can go. So Juan Montoya brings it down pit road, and we guaranteed you he wouldn't speed. So I'm sort of on the line here. Dave, he's coming your way.
And you see the idea here, Marty, with an issue like they had, they wanted to make sure they could finish this race and perhaps win it. So when the discussion came that the vibration was getting worse, crew chief Brian Petty said, well, hey, we're within our fuel window for this particular run, so go ahead and bring it. They'll change 4 tires this time. They'll make no chassis adjustments to the car. The handling was pretty good, but he said I couldn't stand the vibration. You can see big chunks out of the right front tire on that 42 car. So definitely chunks of rubber out of the right front, and that was what was causing the big vibration for Juan Pablo Montoya on that run.
And what does it spell for the rest of the field if he's got 4 really good tires underneath him?
Well, the problem is here now, you know, that's a tire that must have had a defect in it from the start, because that tire was vibrating, and we thought it might be loose. You see Harvick now jumping out of line.
Yeah, Harvick going around that slower traffic. That's the 09 of Bobby Labonte, the 2000 winner here. He's one of those victims from that first lap crash. And here comes Clint Boyer as well.
Well, getting back to the Montoya thing, that was not what they expected to find. They expected to find a loose wheel. They're going to have to look at this tire now and figure out, is this just a defect in the tire, or is this something we need to worry about the rest of the day?
Well, right now, you can see them working on the left side, and Juan Pablo Montoya back out onto the racetrack now. He is shown in 30th position.
You'd have to think, back to the Montoya thing just a second, that as early as he reported that Andy, just like you said, a defective tire, and that is going to happen occasionally, and this is a new right side tire that they have here.
Let's go check in once again on Matt Kenseth, because remember when he was 4th about 4 or 5 laps ago, he has dropped back to 8th. Jeff Burton is right behind him, and here comes Jeff Gordon, Casey Kane, Kyle Busch, and everybody else. Kyle takes a look inside. Let's get an update on Jeff Gordon. Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Marty, despite qualifying 8th, the 4-time Brickyard 400 winner has had his issues all weekend with the chassis on the car, and they continue today. Listen in.
Oh, we're just way off, man. We tied in, loose in the middle, loose off. Won't turn, back and doesn't stick, and we just got no grip. Same old thing we've been fighting all weekend. Push loose all the way through every corner.
And just now, Jeff summed it up in a couple of words that, guys, we are jumped. This thing is plowing on entry to the corner. Steve Letarte encouraging the drivers that we will make adjustments. We will make the changes in our pit stop in a few laps.
Well, he's still got 3/4 of the distance to go here, so he's got plenty of time to make the adjustments. Here goes Brad Keselowski as he has made a pit stop. He is shown right now in 30th position, and there is the tire for Juan Pablo. No wonder he had a vibration.
Yeah, he made a good decision getting that car on pit road exactly when he did, because another lap he would have been probably torn up, and his chances would be gone. This way, he's at least got a shot. Hopefully that's just an isolated incident.
Well, I think, as far as we have heard, that's the first time we've seen any issue with tire. I mean, nobody's been talking tires at all. There goes Mark Martin around Mr. Conway. There's your top 5 after 41 of 160.
Just past 1/4 distance into the Brickyard 400. Make sure you go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Mark Martin leading Greg Biffle. There you see the gap from 1st to 2nd. Just past again 1/4 distance with a set of pit stops approaching very quickly. From the pit studio, Rusty, Brad, and Ray looking on a couple of other storylines that will follow throughout the day. Championship leader Kevin Harvick and the Richard Childress Racing team. Solid so far.
Yeah, both of them look really strong. Boyer and Harvick been running bumper to bumper throughout this race. You can tell the cars are almost prepared identical. You see him there coming off the corner. Harvick right behind Jimmy Johnson right now. And there's Clint Boyer to the inside. Just passing Jimmy Johnson right now, Boyer is. 2 good cars out of the Richard Childress camp.
Johnson kind of fading toward the end of this run. Another story we talked about on NASCAR Countdown, Penske. We saw Sam Hornish have trouble in turn 2 on lap 1. Brad Keselowski just made a green flag pit stop. but pretty good for Kurt Busch.
Yeah, Kurt's doing a good job currently running around that 9th position, and I tell you, he has steadily been improving his lap times. I like this Steve Addington, Kurt Busch combination. As I said earlier, at the end of the day, if they can just continue to maintain, they will have a shot at winning this thing.
And we're seeing something that we've not seen here in the past. Guys are moving up through the field. We're seeing guys go in the back with problems and driving up. We're seeing a lot of passing. Guys that were good on used tires yesterday afternoon. It has come to be that way again this afternoon. And the number 2 car was one of those cars that was good on used tires yesterday afternoon.
And Alan, you got to wonder if the rear spoiler is causing a lot of this passing. We talked to Jimmy Johnson earlier. He thought that they could do this in the straightaway. And I believe the spoiler's got something to do with this.
Well, Johnson continues to slide back as Kevin Harvick goes by him to take the 5th position. And again, green flag pit stops quickly approaching Marty, DJ, and Andy.
Yes, as by our calculation, the window is definitely open. It's been 31 laps since the competition caution. And the cycle is about to start because we've got our first taker. Dave, it's all yours.
Martin Truex on pit road. Before the round started with the 42, he was running 7th. He called the car skatey but decent. The track is very slick right now. He wants just an air pressure adjustment for Martin Truex in that 56 car. Doc?
Slight air pressure adjustment in 4 tires for Kyle Busch, who had driven all the way from the back of the pack to the 11th position with a damaged left front fender.
And you saw that Mark Martin pulled down pit road, so we'll have a new race leader of several takers here on lap number 49. Jamie, it's all yours.
And this team wants to salvage as many points in this race as possible. They got 5 bonus points for leading. He said the car is balanced now. The last stop helped tremendously with the wedge adjustment. 4 tires, no adjustments. Fill it up with Sunoco fuel is the call for Mark Martin. Doc?
Jimmy Johnson had begun to fade a little bit at the end of that run. They will make a Panhard bar adjustment, trying to change the crossweight a little bit, trying to get the car to roll in the middle of the corner. Air pressure, right side tires are on, left side tires are on. Let's check in with Dave.
The 1 car McMurray was in, 2 loose track bar adjustment. Kevin Harvick is in as well, 4 tires and fuel for him. And as well, the 31 car of Jeff Burton is in, and he leaves pit road. Doc?
Jeff Gordon, you heard the issues. They had all kinds of handling problems. He had made a major adjustment air pressure-wise. He comes down pit road alongside the 98 of Paul Menard.
You see everybody cycling through. Dale Jr. comes back out. We can tell you Greg Biffle had the race lead, and he has just turned down pit road. Dave, let's send it to you.
And Marty, his car was a little bit free on the first run, but they made no adjustments. He said, I like that. So it's a little bit free once again, but they won't make any adjustments here as well. They will give him full of Sunoco fuel. They'll change 4 tires on there for Biffle. And again, I believe he picked up 5 points as the leader. Very important for Greg Biffle right now, trying to turn his season back in the right direction. Doc?
Carl Edwards back on pit road. Remember, they had the incident with the grass in the grill and the overheating. They had to put water back in. It's a good news for the Edwards fans. The water temperature back down to normal. Pressure okay. The car a little bit snug in the middle of the corner. They will put 4 tires, and Carl is away.
So right now, Tony Stewart is your race leader. He last pitted on lap 16. Right behind him in second place is Juan Pablo Montoya, who pitted on lap number 38. There is Tony coming in right behind Mike Conway. Conway is one of the earlier pits, and we'll send it to Vince Welch.
Well, Tony Stewart has been fighting a car that's been a little bit loose throughout most of the afternoon today, tight in the center, but he just hasn't quite had the grip that he wants. He feels like the car is on top of the racetrack. They tried to snug it up a little bit off, and they made a chassis adjustment here on this stop as well. 4 tires for Tony Stewart. He's been hovering around the top 15, hasn't made that charge toward the front yet today.
All right, thank you, Vince. Let me correct. It was Kevin Conway, not Mike. We'll keep him in line, get back out onto the racetrack as Tony Stewart does likewise. And it is Juan Pablo Montoya with Landon Castle right now running in second position, but he is way off sequence. He is going to have to stop here pretty soon.
Well, he just got out of sync with the leaders by having to make that stop, but he does have a big lead now because he had those fresh tires on for so long. So you have to wait a while before you see the second place car, Landon Castle, who's yet to make his pit stop. And then you got Greg Biffle, who was leading there just a moment ago.
Yeah, I talked to Landon yesterday, and word was he was going to be a start and park, but here we are, completing lap 51, and he is running in second place. And boy, what a good ride he's given this car right now for the Tax Slayer Chevrolet. Stay with us. Back here at the Brickyard 400, presented by Golden Corral, and you see the race leader, Juan Pablo Montoya, but he's going to have an issue here in the not-too-distant future. Remember, he stopped earlier by 11 laps over Greg Biffle. Biffle's lap times have been, on average, 0.8 of a second quicker, guys.
Yeah, you're going to see that. I mean, the tires are that much fresher on Biffle's, and Biffle's car is really good. We saw him just really make up a lot of time on that first, that last.
15 more laps. 15, just letting you know.
That last green flag run, you're hearing 15 more laps now on Montoya.
And that was Juan Pablo's radio, so you can do the math, and you'll see when they're ready to come in. Behind Biffle, as he's closing in on Sam Hornish, who is several laps down, 2 to be, in fact, in 32nd place. Mark Martin is running in 3rd. Then you have Clint Boyer in 4th. Jamie McMurray 5th. Kevin Harvick 6th. So out of the top 6, it's 5 Chevrolets and Greg Biffle, the lone Ford.
Yeah, he's the lone Ford, but he's the fastest car out there. He's a good 0.2 of a second quicker than Mark Martin. So we see Jamie McMurray here.
Going around Jacques Villeneuve, the 1995 Indianapolis 500 winner.
Yeah, he's trying to chase down right in front of him. That's Clint Boyer, who took over the 4th spot after that round of pit stops. Clint Boyer looks like a very solid car, too. Really good on the longer run. That's when he made up a lot of time, was right before they made these stops.
Whoa, let's go 3 wide, and let's see it. And there's Tony on the low end. Carl Edwards in the middle. Paul Menard, you're on board with Dale Jr.
Wow, that's pretty dicey there, but you have to know that in that situation that the other guys understand that you're there, and they gave him room to race, didn't force the issue. We've seen Tony make that move a couple of times already.
Reagan 16th, Stewart 17th, Edwards and Jr. followed by Menard.
Yeah, one of the better runs for David Reagan here with that UPS Ford. He's up in the 16th spot now, looks pretty solid so far.
Things have sort of sorted themselves out in this group.
As we see Dale Jr. at the tail end of this group, Andy and I thought that watching him practice yesterday that he was one of the better cars, especially on older tires. Dale Jr. really looked pretty solid, and know they were making some adjustments.
Yeah, he seems to really like this place, and as we like to say, we watched these lap times in race trim, and he was one of the better cars.
Looking a bit further back, I'm looking at the scoring monitors, and this battle continues here with these guys running pretty much the same interval now. The last lap and a half. With Jeff Gordon leading this pack. Gordon right now running in 13th with Hamlin a lap down, and boy, that's a big surprise. I think all of us were talking earlier this week that we thought that Denny might be a player in this one.
Well, he still might be. He got caught up in some of that debris on the racetrack making those green flag stops, and then we saw some other cars actually recover from it. He's yet to recover from that early pit stop.
One of the battles that's starting to heat up is these 2 cars, as you've got Kyle Busch with Jeff Burton, and that's for 9th and 10th. And what about Kyle Busch? I mean, remember when we saw him at the beginning of the race, he's going the wrong direction.
Yeah, and that could have been devastating. I mean, he spun in front of the entire field, and that could have wiped out his entire day and his opportunity here. See, he's very fortunate that he didn't mess up the splitter too bad, didn't get hit by another car. A lot of things that could have happened. Now he's bounced back and's got himself into the top 10.
You see that tape on the left front? That's really the only damage he got from it. A little bit of fender damage they fixed, but team doing a great job. Dave Rogers and his whole crew.
You can see as far back as 16th and all the way back now to the 9th position. Jeff Burton was knocking on the door, but now that has sort of maintained its position between the 2 of them.
Yeah, just to show you how hard this is to go from one day to the next, Jeff Burton was at the top of the sheets, 1st or 2nd in both the practice sessions there yesterday. And here he is running 10th right now, but that's certainly not what he expected. He expected to be up there battling for the lead.
Remember when we told you when we first came back that Juan Pablo Montoya might have an issue? Well, it's getting closer because the 16 of Greg Biffle is closing. It was a 4.5-second lead when we came back from break. It's now down to less than 2 seconds, Dave.
And Marty, before Greg Biffle climbed into his car today, I had a conversation with him, and I said, how did you, in the heat of the day yesterday in qualifying, go out and qualify 7th when you drew 34th out of 47? We know the track gets hotter, the conditions get worse. And he said, on Friday, I thought we didn't have a chance. I thought, man, we're going to qualify in the back at Indy again. But they worked on the front end of that car and made some changes, Greg Irwin being the instructor in that field. So he went and did that. They made changes on the front, and that was a big difference. Greg said when I went in and qualifying to turn 1, it cut.
Well, one thing Greg could do for Roush Fenway Racing is eliminate one of those bucket list items. There's only 2 active tracks where they have not won, Chicagoland and right here in Sprint Cup action.
Yeah, and add a little bit more to that, what Dave was talking about in talking to Greg Biffle there last night. They did make some changes up there, some things that they had done at other racetracks. They said, let's just give this a chance. He saw where he was going to have to go out qualifying late. He said, I would resign myself to qualify about 25th to 30th, and it's all come together now.
So, as you can see, we've run 60 of the 160 laps. There's your top 5 here at the Brickyard 400. Let's take a moment to remind you again about the AT&T Fastest Pit Crew of the Year Award. The fastest pit crew is determined by the winner of each race, the fastest pit time, and your vote. Be sure to text the car number to 2258 for your pit crew choice. While we were in commercial break, we've had another lead change, our 9th lead change between 7 different cars. Greg Biffle, we told you he was closing, had better tires. Here's what happened while we were away.
It's pretty inevitable this pass was going to happen, but you see, Greg Biffle, he is really up on the wheel now trying to catch Montoya. Just pulls out of the slipstream there and passes him on the front straightaway. It's like Montoya didn't give him a lot of trouble.
And let's watch from the onboard. Looking out the back of Montoya.
Yeah, watch the run that Greg Biffle gets right here. Off of turn 2, you can see that 42 got a little bit loose. That allowed Biffle to come, make a pretty easy pass.
And that's the one thing Juan didn't want to see. That 16 car going away, and he's pulling away. He's up to a 6/10 of a second lead.
Well, one thing Montoya would love to see right now is a caution flag, and that would put him back on the same sync with the rest of the cars and get him back in the game before we lose too many more spots.
Yeah, I'd say he's within 6 or 7 laps here of probably making his pit stop.
And we got the caution. Turn 2, debris.
Turn 2.
So what Juan Pablo Montoya, you heard Andy talking about needing that break because he was going to continue to lose ground with those older tires. He gets the break that he needs, and he's running in 2nd place.
This is exactly what this team needed. They got a bad break last year.
Yeah.
This is a good break this year. They got in there before they had a tire go down and got it off of there. Now they're back in sync with the rest of the competitors and no worse than 2nd. So I'd say it's a good break for this team.
That's just some of the rubber buildup out on the track.
Goodyear's they've built wear into these tires to get into the grooves of this track to help keep from happening what we saw a couple of years ago when all these tires were wearing out in just a few laps. Done a great job of it, and so far only one issue there we saw with Montoya's tire, and I got to think that was just an isolated incident.
You saw Biffle's crew members giving each other the high five, pumping each other up. They know how important this pit stop is.
Yeah, that's a great pit crew right there. They just beat Mark Martin on that green flag round of stops. Mark was in front of them, and they beat him by a couple seconds and gained that spot, which allowed him to take the lead from Montoya.
So this is our 3rd caution. Greg Biffle has led a total of 5 laps now. Our total lap leader, of course, Juan Pablo Montoya with 46. But remember, last year he led 116 of the first 124 laps before that infamous speeding penalty.
Montoya has to feel pretty good about his chances now, though. He's going to be back on equal tires. He knows he has a fast race car. They got the break that they needed to put them back in position to win.
And as you can see, it looks like everybody is coming down pit road. 55 miles an hour is the speed limit. It looks so slow from up here because it is such a long pit road. Let's send it first to Jamie Little.
And Mark Martin comes down pit road at 4,700 RPM. He said it started off loose, but the call, leave it alone. 4 tires and fuel for the 5. Doc?
Middle of your screen, Clint Boyer coming in all the way up to 4th position. Brand new race car. Clint's in a little bit loose in the middle of the corner. 1/10 pound air pressure in the right front. Dave.
Leader Greg Biffle says, I want to take off better. They'll make a track bar adjustment, air in the right sides to make it a little less loose on the get-go. As for Juan Pablo Montoya, it'll be a track bar adjustment. His car was loose at the end of that run, trying to win the race off of pit road. There he goes. It's going to be close. Biffle at pit road speed will win and retain the lead.
You can see the number of tires everybody took. McMurray picks up 2 spots. Kurt Busch picks up 3. The big loser, though, Mark Martin this time, as he drops 2 positions on that race off of pit road. Kyle Busch also losing 2 positions as the bottom of the 10th car to come off the lane.
Biffle's team doing a great job. That's 3 stops in low 13-second bracket.
So right now, Ford is in the lead ahead of 4 Chevrolets. Here's the race off pit road as we head to a quick commercial break here at the 17th running of the Brickyard 400.
This is sacred ground. The most historic track in American history.
We'll win the Indianapolis 500.
A place where legends are made, where glory can be attained, where reputations are cemented.
And here's the checkered flag.
A win here etches your name forever in racing history.
This is Indy. This is the Brickyard.
Back here at the Brickyard, we're under our 3rd caution as we are cleaning up debris. Our race leader is Greg Biffle, followed by Juan Pablo Montoya. Jamie McMurray and our in-race reporter, Clint Boyer. Let's talk to him.
Hey, Clint, Dale Jarrett, you have a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Dale.
Hey, man, just before halfway here, it looks like you got yourself in a good position. Is your car about where you want it or still adjusting?
That's pretty close. It's been close all weekend, but just fine-tuned a little bit. Got a little bit free that last time. Snug it up a little bit. Taking off under caution here, let the tires build up a little bit. Should be take off a little bit better for me, so we'll see what she's got.
All right, man, go get them. Talk to you later.
All right, let's update you some other things as Jimmy Johnson had an extended pit stop. He's going to start back in 22nd, and let's listen in on the radio.
Is there a rebound adjuster on the left front where we can see the rebound back out? No. It's the same shock that was on there when we were fast yesterday, bud. Does the left rear have a rebound adjuster on it? Yes, we're going to close it, man.
All right, to find out more, let's send it over to the Craftsman Tech Garage with Tim Brewer.
Marty, when we build these shock absorbers, we can build them where the compression adjustable, meaning going down, or rebound adjustable. But by manipulating the valve right here, when we build it rebound adjustable, that's what Jimmy's asking. Hey, is the shock closed all the way up? Because we've got over 30 adjustments right here. Just by manipulating this shock absorber, just like this, put it in a different position, it changes the handling characteristics of the car. And by closing it up, he's probably wanting to put more bite in that left rear, and he can adjust it either way he wants to, depending on the way he built the shock.
All right, thanks, Tim. We can tell you now we have 26 cars on the lead lap because the lucky dog goes to Travis Quabble in the 37. Let's also update you, Landon Castle is now out of the race. He pulled the 71 behind the wall several laps ago, but we've had so much going on, we had a tough time getting that one updated for you. Also, Todd Bodine is off the track as well. Pace car has pulled down. Race leader Greg Biffle has selected the inside lane. Montoya, McMurray, Boyer, Martin, Harvick, that's your top 6 as they come down the front stretch here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Green flag waves, and we're racing once again.
Denny McMurray had ideas of trying to go to the inside of Greg Biffle, who got a great start also.
Boy, Biffle looks so good there. You know, this is the first time Ford has led since 2008 at the Brickyard 400. And Greg Biffle's trying to check out.
And he blasted out of there.
Too wide. Going to try and make it 3 maybe, guys. A little rubbing going on down the backstretch there. Mark Martin's got his hands full. That's Harvick on the inside. Martin Truex wanted a piece of it as well. There's Kurt Busch in the 2. Go on board with Kurt.
Yeah, what he sees right here in front of him is a lot of racing going on. Now they get back single files. Harvick's able to take that spot away from Mark Martin.
Kyle Busch has got the inside line on Jeff Burton, and Gordon's right behind Busch as they come down the front straightaway. Looks like Kyle's going to clear him. Can Gordon follow as well? The answer's no.
Well, he had thoughts of that, and these guys have had a couple of opportunities now to work on the cars. If they're going to be a factor in this race, now's the time to start showing it.
Burton running in 10th, Gordon 11th, Casey Kane right in that mix in 11th. The 14, the Old Spice Chevy. Tony Stewart on the left side of the screen. Let's get more from Vince Welch.
Well, Tony Stewart's been fighting the same battle all night long, or all afternoon long, I should say, and that's just the fact that he just doesn't feel like they've got any grip. They're a little bit too loose off the corners. They've been adjusting and adjusting and adjusting, but they just can't get it to where he can drive off the corners in a big group coming behind him.
Boy, old David Reagan really got loose on the North Chute, and he's paying the price right now. Carl Edwards on the high side going around him, and boy, he almost got jacked up by Dale Jr.
Yeah, he got sideways underneath Carl Edwards and still hung on to it. Look, he's got the spot.
Nice recovery by Reagan. Carl can't get the pass done on the outside, and here comes everybody else behind him, including Joey Logano as we go on board. Logano running in 18th position. Oh yeah. A little bit further back, you've got Reagan Smith right behind Logano. Good run for this team going.
Yeah, Regan's done a nice job. We've seen him a couple of different times in a couple of battles. He's doing a really nice, solid job here today. He and Logano, both young guys here, doing an outstanding job.
I love that paint job on that number 78. There you see Regan's numbers. Started 22nd, up to 19th. He was as far back as 26th.
Yeah, most of the time you're looking for Regan Smith, you're looking for a flat black paint scheme, which is kind of cool. But this week he's got a lot of color.
Jimmy Johnson right now, he has running in 22nd position. Did he make the right adjustment on pit road? Let's go back and show you what happened. On board with Denny Hamlin.
Now, Denny Hamlin's fighting to stay in this lucky dog position. He's following Jimmy Johnson. Ooh, man, that's pretty loose.
Yeah, Jimmy was trying to run that Montoya line, holding it out there, was going to try to get a run off the corner, but his car wasn't capable of doing that. Way too loose.
Jimmy's trying to track down Scott Speed in the 82. A.J. Allmendinger right behind him. Allmendinger is one lap down in 28th position.
I'd have to say that they don't have this where Jimmy Johnson likes it yet, as he's struggling to pass these cars back here.
Let's get an update on the 48, Doc.
It is hard to believe, guys, that Jimmy Johnson is having this kind of trouble at a place where he has been so good over the years. You heard Tim Brewer talk about adjusting the rebound in the shop. Talking with the team a moment ago, they have put a couple of rubbers in the right rear. They have made a track bar adjustment in the left rear. They have made air pressure adjustments and the shock adjustment you just heard. And Jimmy still doesn't have the car to where he would like it. And a moment ago, Chad Canal said, guys, right now we are battling for a top 15 finish. We just don't want to end up on the hook.
Well, and remember, guys, in the last 6 years, it's been feast or famine with Jimmy. He's won 3 of them, but he's DNF'd in the other 3.
Yeah, he doesn't want to DNF, and hearing what they're doing to that car, he's probably fighting a really tight race car. They're putting rubbers in the right rear. They're trying to put that rebound in the left rear to try to free that thing up. And it looked like on that shot we saw from Denny Hamlin's car that it...
When he was on equal footing with Greg Biffle and McMurray and Boyer would retake the lead. So far, the answer to that is no. Back here at the Brickyard 400, presented by Golden Corral. And we approach the halfway point. And coming off pit road is the 82 of Scott Speed. He had a tire issue, and we may get an idea of what happened because Jimmy Johnson was right alongside, and he came in shortly thereafter. And there's the net result as the left front is down. Question of that, Jimmy Johnson, does he have any damage? Looks okay right now.
Yeah, it looks like he hit him with that right rear corner, kind of away from the wheels. Scott Speed not so lucky. He got that tire rub and instantly cut the tire down, so he had to come in.
Speed comes back out in 31st position, 1 lap down. Jimmy's running in 21st.
You could see some damage on the right rear of that car, and that's a big part of the aero package of this car is in that right rear quarter panel, so that could hurt Jimmy.
He's got a long way to go. He is a full 15 seconds behind the race leader right now. Let's go back up front and set the top 4 for you. It is Greg Biffle, followed by Juan Pablo Montoya, Jamie McMurray, and Clint Boyer. It's 1 Ford, followed by 4 Chevrolets. Let's go up to speed, and we'll pick it up with 5th place, Kevin Harvick. Dave?
That's your championship leader right now. Remember, he started today with a 103-point lead over the field, so pretty comfortable as he heads toward the chase. What they've been fighting today has been mostly a tight race car. Tight, tight, tight on the first several runs, and then finally on the last run, he used the word better, and they made no adjustments to the chassis on that last pit stop. Jamie?
Behind him in the bright green car, Mark Martin. I talked to his crew chief this morning. He told me all season long they have been on the defensive. They've just been trying to protect what they have and not lose too many points. He said this week this is the first time they've been on the defensive, feeling like they have a car that is capable of contending. Right now, though, he said the hotter it gets, the tighter he's getting. Dave?
Martin Truex Jr. runs right behind him. He started 12th, has moved his way into the top 10, has been running there ever since. Even though his car has been loose on occasion, he's been dealing with a skaty racetrack on occasion. On the last pit stop, they made a wedge and air pressure adjustment because the car was loose into the corner and loose off. Doc?
And behind him, the 2 car, we got the Busch brothers running together. Kurt Busch in the 2 car. Remember, Roger Penske has never won a Brickyard 400. And Kurt Busch, despite having some handling trouble early on and having a lug nut hung, which cost him about 3 seconds on pit road, has now moved that car back into the top 10 at 8th position. Behind him in 9th spot is Kyle Busch. Remember the lap 1 incident where he got the left front fender caved in, got some damage on the nose. They fixed it. He drove from 37th back to 12th and is now being shown in the top 10. But they made an adjustment a moment ago. And here's what Kyle had to say.
Yep. Typical Indy. Should have left it alone.
And what he's referring to is the car was getting tight toward the end of a run, and they came in and made a very slight air pressure adjustment, and now the car has swung the other way and is loose. Dave.
Jeff Burton, you guys mentioned it earlier, was near the top of the practice charts yesterday, but has not had the best day so far. Running 10th, but on the last run, he said he needed more rear grip. He reported that earlier in the race, too. So they made an air pressure adjustment to try to catch up with him. But so far, the car Jeff had yesterday, not the car he has today, Marty.
All right, thanks, Dave. And, of course, after that, as we take a look a little bit further back, Jeff Gordon running in the 11th position. They've been fighting tight in, loose in the middle, loose off. That's been their mantra all weekend. And there's right behind him is Tony Stewart, Casey Kane, and Matt Kenseth with David Reagan rounding out the top 15. Up front, it is the 16 of Greg Biffle. He has never won here at the Brickyard. And the 42 right behind of Juan Pablo Montoya, Jamie McMurray in hot pursuit, but there's the gap of all 3 of them as they come down the front straightaway. You've got the 2 Earnhardt Ganassi cars. Chip Ganassi has 2nd and 3rd positions right now in his quest to win the trifecta. The Daytona 500, the Indy 500, and the Brickyard 400 all in the same year. Can he do it? Well, we'll find out because the leader at halfway has won only 4 times this season. That's bad news for Biffle.
The Indianapolis Motor Speedway, where they've been racing for a century now on these grounds at the corner of 16th and Georgetown in Speedway, Indiana. Today, the relatively new tradition of NASCAR at the Brickyard continues with the 17th Brickyard 400. We're just past halfway, and let's take a look at our McDonald's race rundown and catch you up on what's happened in the first part of the Brickyard 400 from the pit studio with Rusty, Ray, and Brad. It was Juan Pablo Montoya starting on the pole in the opening laps of the race. Got kind of crazy.
Oh, it really did. Kyle Busch got sideways and took a lot of cars with him. Sam Hornish, one of the big losers in this, tears right rear quarter panel up, and it's a big melee off at turn 2.
8 cars involved in that one. Turn 2, lap 1. Then a bunch of people had overheating problems.
We saw a lot of guys getting off and getting grassed up in their radiators and whatnot, and causing a lot of these cars to overheat. That has since then tempered down somewhat, but it's had a lot of problems earlier with guys overheating.
Denny Hamlin, Dale Jr., Brad Keselowski among the guys. Now, Jimmy Johnson trying to win this race for a 3rd straight year. He led briefly in this race, but he's really slipped back.
Strong early, but as the track changed, seems like they haven't been able to keep up with it. They brought him in, made a shock change, and you can see he was incredibly loose there.
Johnson running in 21st position. Now, Juan Pablo Montoya, I mentioned, started on the pole, dominated the early part of the race, but then, after being well out in front, had to make a pit stop under green with an ugly-looking right front tire.
Yeah, he had a right front tire problem, and big chunks of rubber came out of the right front tire. Just an isolated incident. We haven't had any tire problems all day long, just this one. It looks like everything's fine for Juan right now. In fact, him and Montoya and Biffle are awful close to speed right now. Looks like Montoya's back up to speed.
Montoya cycling back around to the 2nd position behind leader Greg Biffle. Right now running 0.8 of a second behind the Biff, who, by the way, not a lot of people picked to win this Brickyard 400. He is leading. One of the stories of the day, Chip Ganassi's attempt to win the trifecta, if you will. The Daytona 500, the Indy 500, and the Brickyard 400 in the same year. Plus Juan Pablo Montoya trying to win both the Indianapolis 500 and the Brickyard 400. Only driver who would have done that. It's been a good day so far for the Ganassi effort. Dave?
Well, they run 2nd and 3rd right now. And Chip, you've been here enough times to know what to think and feel at just past halfway. What do you allow yourself to think at this point?
I allow myself to think it was just past halfway. You know, I mean, there's a lot of race to go, 75 or something to go. And, we just got to, you got to just do the obvious things right from here up through the race, and we'll see what happens at the end.
With no other tire issues, it looked like the 42 right front was a fluke. Is that the way you saw it?
Yeah, so far it looks like a fluke. We'll see.
right now. Chip has moved his way back and forth between pit boxes. The 42 is pitted first, the 1 car right next door, Marty.
All right, thank you, Dave. As we scan a little bit further back, behind Montoya is McMurray, and of course his teammate, Clint Boyer. Kevin Harvick in 5th, and Mark Martin has now found himself in 6th position.
Well, this track has changed a lot from yesterday, and especially today as the race wears on. It's getting faster. The speeds are staying a lot faster this run than we've seen all weekend long. So it means the track's probably taking rubber and it's changing, and you see it's kind of moved away from the Hendrick cars. Jimmy Johnson really struggling right now. Mark is even falling back a little bit, and you see Greg Biffle now. He probably started his car really loose, and the track is coming to him.
Yeah, I think the 2 guys up front really probably started their cars looser than anybody else. We see Jimmy Johnson losing another spot here.
And guys, I mean, Jimmy Johnson just got passed by Bill Elliott and Marcus Ambrose literally in the same lap. So I'm wondering if there's something wrong with that car.
Well, I've seen his times be about a second and a half off of what Biffle and Montoya are running. So he obviously has some significant problems there. They're going to have to make some major changes, and that would require a caution flag to make those kind of changes. And even then, not going to get back to the front today, I don't think.
Everybody's going to have to make changes on their race car because this track is changing. Even Greg Biffle leading this race, if he doesn't keep up with it, he'll lose a handle on it also. So really putting a lot of premium on all these crew chiefs.
We're going to end up getting laps here.
They're going to have to make these changes and really listen to the drivers because it's going to be necessary for them to maintain.
Let's go back up front because Juan Pablo Montoya, his lap times have been about 1/10 to 2/10 a second a lap quicker, and he is closing down now on Greg Biffle. And you know, we mentioned about the fact how halfway leaders haven't had a lot of success this year in the Sprint Cup Series because only 4 of 19 times has the halfway leader won. Well, here at the Brickyard, only 6 of 16 prior races has the halfway leader won.
And sometimes you get out there as the leader, you have to be a little bit careful not to run the car a little too hard, run that right rear tire off of it if these cars are, if they're driving them as loose as we think they are. So maybe Greg has done that. Montoya maybe took care of his a little bit more, and you see him closing here now, trying to take the lead back.
They both get around Kevin Conway. Just to update you, Kevin is now 33rd and a total of 3 laps down. This time by the stripe, we'll have 68 laps to go, and that's the margin from the view of Juan Pablo Montoya. What's really great, remember we talked at the beginning and once earlier in the broadcast about his different line, and you can see it from here looking forward to Biffle.
It really helps if you got a tight race car to be able to arc it in and really, you know, make that late turn in because it makes the angle of that corner shallower, and it really does help the car run through the corner. On the other hand, it's hard to do because you kind of lose the back end, get in the corner.
And that allows him, the way that he drives here, to tighten his race car a little bit more than these other guys, where you have Biffle and these others drive it in more. They have to loosen their car to make it turn more in the center, where Montoya is doing it just with the racetrack and his style of driving.
And from that onboard, you saw half a lap earlier, they blew past David Ruderman, our winner just 2 weeks ago in Chicago. He is 2 laps down in 30th position.
Hey, one thing that I've seen is these 2 cars race. We've talked about this new Ford engine and, you know, what it does and maybe doesn't do and everything. Obviously, it's performing great right now. But I've seen Biffle's car be as strong as anybody on the straightaway. And we've talked about these Chevrolet engines, how stout they were, but Biffle's not losing a thing. Doug Yates and his team done a fantastic job there.
Yeah, I saw it also on a restart. That's a telling sign of a good engine.
Greg Biffle's led more laps today for Ford than they have in the last 4 races combined here at the Brickyard. There you see Greg Biffle passing 2 former Indianapolis 500 winners, and we've got pit stops happening already under green. Vince?
Tony Stewart is in. He had been running down as far as 21st and then started charging up to 11th. Darian Grubb has been massaging this car all day long, and it's getting better and better. We'll see if Stewart can be a factor down the stretch. Good stop by the 14 guys.
As Tony comes back out, you saw Greg Biffle. He has come awfully close to that wall every time he's on that lap, the last 3 laps, and here comes a bunch of people, including second place Juan Pablo Montoya is heading towards you, Dave Burns, if he can make sure that Marcus Ambrose doesn't get in the way.
And he doesn't want any distractions when he's coming down pit road. You heard him say that he really doesn't do anything different even after that speeding penalty on pit road last year. Certainly he'll watch that tachometer to make sure he's not over this year. Come down and calling for no changes right now on the car. It was a little bit loose when he slammed on the brakes, but that was just a condition he can control with his own feet, so they won't make any adjustments. The tires going on are fresh and full of air, and so far after that first right front was bad, no problem
left rear. It was a good stop. He's down and away. Dave.
Jamie McMurray is on and off of pit road. Kevin Harvick leads pit road. Harvick's car was going back to the original air pressures. He didn't like the way that felt. Jamie McMurray was loose. Also leading pit road, Jeff Burton during this round of pit stops.
Jeff Gordon as well. There's Matt Kenseth coming back out. Dale Earnhardt Jr. as well, as everybody here working lap number 98. Now this puts an interesting twist into this as everybody pits on lap 98. That's whoa, look out!
Just about got tagged.
Biffle's in. Let's go take a look.
All right, come on, we'll get it.
Very close call for the leader right there. He said the water temperature was good. It would have been bad if he'd crushed the radiator right there, but he gets around Keselowski. So coming in, Greg Biffle wants a half round on the wedge adjustment, just a little bit loose on the race car. Doc?
Likewise, a little bit loose for Kurt Busch. 4 tires, slight air pressure adjustment. Busch is down and away.
So after a heart-stopping moment for Greg Biffle and his team, Roush Fenway Racing. Let's go back to Doc one more time.
And what a difficult day it has been for Jimmy Johnson. Again, major chassis adjustments. They went back to the garage and came back with a handful of shock absorbers. They were thinking about changing shocks if they can get a pit stop under the yellow flag. 4 tires, and again, Jimmy is away.
And the 99 of Carl Edwards rotated through to the lead, but now he has pulled down pit road, and he makes his way down that long, slow 55-mile-an-hour trek towards his pit stall, well past start-finish line. Doc?
Carl Edwards saying the car is a little bit free in and free off. It's still tight in the middle of the corner. They are continuing to make just ever so slight air pressure adjustments. Carl said it's gotten better. It is more free than tight. If they can just help him on the exit, the car will be a lot better of making a pass.
You can see that Reed Sorensen, after that early incident where he got heavy damage, they had managed to get back out, and that was our over-the-wall Sean Peake, the jack man for the team. You saw them complete theirs. They are 37 laps down in 35th position. And that was that big wreck that we had on lap number 1 that put them behind the wall. We can also tell you Robbie Gordon has gotten back out on track. He had an incident earlier with a blowout. He is 54 laps down. There comes the race leader, and it is Juan Pablo Montoya with Greg Biffle right behind. And the reason for that, guys, as we're looking at the clocks, it looks like pit stop.
Well, the pit stops are very comparable right there, just looking at them, 13.2 to 13.5. And looks like maybe that hiccup Biffle had getting into his pit stop from Keselowski cost him some time.
Well, he had a 7/10 of a second lead before the pit stop, and right now he trails by just 3/10 of a second, and you can see how close that is on the racetrack as they make their way through turn number 3.
Yeah, these two guys have separated themselves by about 6 seconds over Jamie McMurray.
You want to talk about moments that are the difference makers? Here it is.
Well,
Right
got
there.
a little bit of contact right there, but it didn't look like it cost him a lot of time.
I think it got the pit crew a little bit. Even though they still made a good stop, he went a little bit further, and it just threw him off a little. And we're talking about only a second from where he came in with 7/10 of a second lead versus out with 3/10 of a second behind.
Well, between Montoya and Biffle, they have led all but 15 laps today. We've had 8 different leaders. Jamie McMurray, he's one of those Ganassi drivers that could have the trifecta happen. Greg Biffle, Ford's best hope. But the man they're all chasing right now, Juan Pablo.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Brickyard 400, presented by Golden Corral, is brought to you in part by Burger King, who remind you to have it your way.
56 laps to go in the Brickyard 400. Juan Pablo Montoya leading. A reminder, the Mopar Mile High NHRA Nationals finals come up tonight at 7 Eastern over on ESPN2. Next weekend, racing includes the NASCAR Nationwide Series from Iowa Speedway, Saturday 7 Eastern ESPN2. And the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series from Pocono, presented by Aaron's, next Sunday 1 Eastern on ESPN. Coverage starts at noon Eastern with NASCAR Countdown. That will be over on ESPN2 next Sunday from Pocono. 55 laps to go. The lead changed hands on a 2-lap exchange of pit stops a moment ago. Greg Biffle came in leading Montoya, stayed out an extra lap. Montoya ended the exchange with the lead. This from Biffle's car a minute ago.
Sure hope that wins the race. We didn't know Keselowski was going to stop you.
All right, so the exchange between Greg Irwin, the crew chief, and Greg Biffle, the driver, who, again, started the pit stop exchange with the lead and wound up chasing Juan Pablo Montoya. Rusty, Brad, Ray, valid question. Was that the race?
that could be the race, because track position is everything in the world. When I saw Montoya hit pit road a lap before Greg Biffle, you knew that he had fresher tires, and these guys run that first lap after they exit pit road like it's a qualifying lap. Now, not only did he pit early and get that position there, he also beat him in the pit stop. Montoya's pit stop was a 13.2 compared to Biffle's 13.5. So Brad, a little here, a little there, and he's got the lead now.
Yeah, I don't think I would just go ahead and give it away to Montoya, though. I still do believe they do have another pit stop that they're going to have to make. They're both going to have to come down pit road one more time. Greg Biffle could possibly get something back there, but it's going to have to be perfect.
Let's have a little round table here. DJ and Andy listening and joining as well from the booth. Guys, you see these final 53 laps unfolding. What do you see as far as strategy, the one more stop and so on? Andy, what are you seeing?
Well, I see just one more stop for everybody, but I didn't quite understand exactly what Biffle was referring to there, if he needed to go run an extra lap just for fuel and he still wasn't able to make it or not. But I really felt like everybody could make it from here.
Yeah,
I think I agree, Andy. Everybody, I believe, can make it from here. One of the things that will play in, not just the fast pit stop, on how clear of a pit road your entry and exit. You know, we've seen, I'm not so sure that Montoya picking pit number 1 under caution might not be the best pit road. We've seen guys have the momentum under green. They've got to be able to get in. You saw that incident with the 16 and with Brad Keselowski. That slowed the 16 down maybe just enough, threw his pit crew off just enough to cost him some time. They're just going to get one more crack at this.
Hey, DJ, I don't know about you, buddy, but every time my guys made a mistake or else I questioned something, I would do just what Biffle did. I mean, he's probably thinking, man, I wish I could have got in the same lap as Montoya or maybe a lap early, because I think he's a little hot that Montoya got him on those fresher tires.
Yeah, that's a good point, Rusty. I was just going to talk about the same thing. I think Brian Patty may have done something to get his driver the lead and just get him back out front, knowing how important that track position is, that knowing just that one lap was enough. Andy brought this up to me a while ago, that might have been 3/4 of a second, got him out front, and now Biffle's actually paying the price for all of that happening.
I'll just throw a couple things at you. First of all, I'm just stunned. I think, Andy, you said this a few minutes ago. I'm stunned at how much the first two have separated themselves from third place on back. Jamie McMurray in third place is 9 seconds behind the lead. And the other part is Jimmy Johnson.
Man, it's incredible.
Can you believe this?
No, he's 43 seconds behind, really struggling to keep pace with the guys around him for that 22 all the way back to 32 space. Don't know what's happened to the 48, but they have absolutely fallen off the face of the earth.
It looked like they bit the bullet, tried to make a change on the car to get it where it would handle better, but then they lost, 10 or 15 spots, and I think that is worth speed in itself. You get back in this dirty air and you just can't go.
You talk about that dirty air in the lines, and Alan, you're talking about you're really surprised how Montoya and Biffle have got way out. One thing I've been noticing, Biffle's line and Montoya's line are almost identical, and these guys are blowing everybody's doors off.
And another race for 13th and 14th place. One other thing, Marty. History of this race says we'll have a late caution somewhere. Average last run of the race under green is 27 laps. We'll see.
Yeah, the final caution flew 32 to go or less in the last 9 races here at the Brickyard, Alan. Good point. And there goes the pass by the Aflac 99, and Carl Edwards takes the position away from Jeff Gordon, so move Edwards up to 13th. So right now, your race leader is working a little bit of traffic. As you can see, the 39er, Ryan Newman. Boy, Ryan's had a long day. He's 28th right now, 2 laps down. But your race leader, Juan Pablo Montoya, he's led 57, and he's still got 50 to go. Sprint brings you an inside look at the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup on the Now Network. And as you can see, our points leader coming in, obviously Kevin Harvick. He scored almost 1,000 points more this year at the same point over what he did last year. Jeff Gordon, 137 behind in the points chase as we came in. Kurt Busch in third. You see the markers there. And the top speed right now, Juan Pablo Montoya at 207 miles an hour. And For more NASCAR stats, in-car audio, and live race radio, check out NASCAR Sprint Cup Mobile at sprint.com/speed. And with 46 to go, want to talk about speed? Rusty, you had an observation?
Oh, I keep watching Montoya, guys. I mean, his car is not handling as good as Greg Biffle's right now. I heard him patting the throttle coming off of turn 4. Something was going on with the car, loose, tight, something like that. And this last time by, Biffle outrun Montoya by almost a half of a second. So Biffle's not out of this thing by a long shot. I think Montoya's not exactly where he wants the car right yet.
Yeah, Rusty, I think a little of that may have had to do with something these guys told me as they got closer to other cars. They just lost the front end, especially under throttle a lot of times. So that could have had something to do with that. Let's see if he picks back up here now that he's gotten around Ryan Newman.
Well, the meat and the sandwich of the first and second place car is Ryan Newman. It's been a long day for him, Jamie Little.
Certainly has. It started off bad. He blew a tire early. But, guys, moments ago, when he was riding around 28th all by himself, he looked in his rearview mirror.
The side of my mirror says objects appear faster than they appear. No, he's that fast.
I think it caught him off guard a little bit, just how fast that 42 is. But Ryan trying to hang in there. The car still isn't great, but he's just trying to hang on, guys.
Jamie, just as you started your report, we saw a piece of debris come flying out of turn 2, and there it is. It's out of the race groove.
Could be just some tape that flew off of a car. Can't really tell what it was, but it
yeah, it looked like a piece of sheet metal, and now somebody's run over it and kind of wadded it up.
Yeah, you see right there, it does look like a crush panel.
May have off of Rudiment.
Yeah, it was. You see, now we got a caution for debris.
And the caution is out because that could cut a tire. And there it is.
Yeah, right off of Rudiment's car.
And Juan Pablo does hit it. Now the question is...
No,
he
like
didn't.
Montoya missed it, but definitely Newman hit it.
It got Newman's car. Well, but from that first look, it did look like it hit, and that second camera gave us a much better view. So
okay, this changes the strategy a little bit because it cannot make it from here on this stop.
All right, so we're in our fourth caution, so I'm going to put you on the spot, crew chief. What are you going to do? Come in?
4 tires on, fill it up.
Did he sound like he had a
discussion?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, did he sound like he had a doubt in his mind?
No, it's kind of easy there. It's kind of like you were at Darlington.
This is an easy one here. This is a no-brainer, Martin.
And you're nodding along saying, yeah, I'm that driver and I want those tires.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and Ryan Newman, unfortunately, there, it just hasn't been his day. It started out unfortunate for him. If he could have just held on there, he could have just been 1 lap down. But
he has really
came about 2 laps too late.
He's fought all day trying to get those laps back. Very unfortunate.
Well, as of right now, we have 43 laps to go, and that is not going to be enough for a full tank of fuel.
Could be a big break for Jimmy Johnson and Chad Knaus to work on this car. They managed to stay on the lead lap back in 23rd. They're going to take a big swing.
He was the next car to go a lap down, believe it or not, folks. He is 23rd, and that is the last car on the lead lap, and he was 50 seconds behind the race leader, so that gives you an idea just how fast they were closing. Find out if anybody does stay out.
This is definitely going to be a critical stop for people making adjustments because this track has been changing, like I said, all day, and you're really not going to get a lot of opportunity to change it, and here's a real critical point of that.
Well, our fourth caution here ended a green lap stretch that was 48 laps in length. If you're wondering about the fewest cautions ever at the Brickyard 400, it was 1 back in 1995 when Dale Earnhardt won. The record for the most is 13. So as pace car brings him on around, we wait to see exactly. And you wouldn't gamble with 2 tires here, would you?
I wouldn't. Absolutely not. I'd get 4. But, you know, there's some guys back in the back maybe trying to steal some track position. Could try it.
Well, you can see all the front runners are coming in, so Jamie Little will send it your way first.
Well, to keep with those changing track conditions, it definitely is getting hotter down here. Mark Martin calling for another wedge adjustment on the left rear, 4 tires and fuel.
Clint Boyer said they had taken the air pressure back out and the car had gotten loose. They're going to put 4 tires on and change the air pressure in the left front. How about Greg Biffle, Dave?
Very loose race car, 4 tires, track bar, and wedge adjustment. As for Juan Pablo Montoya, he hits the first stall on pit road. There will be no changes to his car. 4 tires will be swapped out, and he leaves. He's going to keep that lead.
you see the race off pit road. Montoya, boy, everybody holds station through the top 5. Kyle Busch picks up 1, and remember the mess he was in lap 1, and here he is coming out in 6th position. Mark Martin drops a spot. Carl Edwards, the big winner, as he picks up 4 coming off pit road. Problems for Jimmy Johnson.
The wheel to the left, or the wheel to the left.
Now they're trying to change shocks on this car. You see how they're bouncing up and down here. They're making as many adjustments as they can. They were the last car on the lead lap, so they weren't. If they couldn't gain any spots, which it wouldn't have helped them because their car wasn't handling right, they can take this time now with these long caution flag laps that you make around this big racetrack to make changes and big changes.
So the work continues for Jimmy Johnson, and the quest to win their 3rd in a row.
They're trying
is
to
in serious jeopardy.
Had a hole in the nose there. I don't know how much that was hurting him. They're now finishing up the shock on the left front.
Let's go, come on.
Now you can hear Chad because they can tell that they
Turn the wheel to the right, turn the wheel to the right.
need to get this stop done.
Now they're okay. They still have some time.
Get that shock nut for me.
Chad looking up track, making sure the pace car.
Plenty of time.
Now he still lets his guys know you still have plenty of time.
That's the thing you don't want to do right here. You don't want to get everybody panicked because it's hard to do this job efficiently if you're trying to hurry it. So they got plenty of time. They can finish this up and stay on the lead lap. Yeah, you see the cars coming, but they can still get out right here.
Tire in there. Turn the wheel to the left. Turn the wheel to the left. Get the tire in there. Hurry up. Hurry up.
I'm getting nervous.
Now he's getting nervous.
Now I'm getting nervous. Hood's still up. Now I'm real nervous.
Yeah, they've lost a lap now.
And now it's too late.
Too late. Forget it.
Yeah.
Just stop. Just make sure we get the splitter fixed right in lap down. Make sure we get the splitter fixed.
And you can
now you got plenty of time.
You can hear the disappointment in Chad Knaus. Where agony on one end of pit road to the excitement of the other. There is Juan.
Hello, race enthusiasts. You may remember me from such racing films as Talladega Nights, Bristol Afternoons, and Daytona's Morning Dew.
We're inside your TV to tell you to go see the new cop movie, The Other Guys, on August 6th. And oh yeah, also want to let you know that you're watching NASCAR at the Brickyard on ESPN.
Thank you, guys. Let's talk quickly about the Fast Five on pit stops as we're getting ready to go back to green. There you can see Kyle Busch gained a position.
Now look how competitive it is on pit road. 12 and a half seconds there down to just about 13. We saw the leader, his stop was 13 and a half seconds.
All right, let's reset it for you. It's Juan Pablo Montoya. He has selected the inside, as everybody has all day. Greg Biffle, then McMurray. Boyer 4th. Harvick 5th. Kyle Busch 6th. Mark Martin 7th. Tony Stewart 8th. Carl Edwards 9th. Casey Kane is now in the top 10. Pace car is off, and we're back to green flag racing here at the Brickyard. McMurray right behind his teammate.
And we got some beating and banging there too. Kevin Harvick kind of spun the tires on the start of that. Hitting Kyle Busch a little contact.
Looks like they've sorted it out. Coming down the straightaway, boy, Greg Biffle side by side with Montoya. He had a nose in front of him, but here comes Montoya right back.
Yeah, a little drafting right there with teammates has definitely helped Montoya get the lead.
And Ganassi is now running 1 and 2 in his quest for the trifecta.
It sure is, and this may be the pass. We have a lot of laps to go and another pit stop, but we saw Jimmy Johnson last year take the lead late from Mark Martin and was able to parlay that into a victory.
Boy, Casey Kane, you saw him. He's moved up 2 spots now. He got around Harvick there into the 8th position. Looking a little bit further back there, you can see Harvick's trying to get back on him. Can't get it done. The pair right in front of them is Kyle Busch and Tony Stewart. There they go through the corner. Tony Stewart doing very well now into the top 5 for the first time today, if my recollection is correct.
Yeah, it's been a long road for this team all week, really. I mean, they just weren't that good, and kept working on it, found a few things in happy hour, and have made good adjustments in the race and great pit stops, and they're in a good spot.
Further back, look out, here comes Jimmy Johnson. Remember, he is a lap down, and he's in a race with that 43 of A.J. Allmendinger, and he gets loose.
Out of control.
And that's Denny Hamlin. That is for position on the racetrack, because the lucky dog, Allmendinger, Hamlin, Johnson, they're all 1 lap down. That's the only way they get back into this game.
And Hamlin, he's been in that lucky dog position, it seems like all day, trying to get that lap back.
Jacques Villeneuve, you see him right behind as he gets around the 12 of Brad Keselowski. Keselowski comes right back underneath him. Ryan Newman alongside of David Reagan. We've documented Newman's troubles all day long. Reagan running 19th right now.
And Martin Truex back in there. He's fallen all the way back to the 20th spot. Looks like he may have an engine problem.
He has pulled down low. There he is on the right side of your screen, the 56, getting passed by 3 cars there.
Like he may have some damage on the nose there, too.
Yeah, it looks like I was just trying to see if there's some damage on the front, maybe causing him to run hot.
He was 18th, and he does have some damage. There it is.
So he's just got a little dent kind of right in the center of the nose. I don't know how that's affected the ductwork and the cooling of that thing.
Yeah, I think they all got jammed up, and that may have been, I don't know if Harvick started that or if he was trying to miss something happening. Between him 3 wide into turn 1 here.
And Keselowski, the winner there. Jimmy on the outside, now ducks underneath him. Meanwhile, back behind him there, the 21, Bill Elliott gets around Truex for another spot.
No downforce, it's plowing.
That was the 56 radio, and he's talking about plowing, and we're not in the farm field, so it's not doing any good.
That damage definitely hurting his performance.
How about Bill Elliott here making a move around David Reagan?
And Scott Speed going around the 56 as well. That is also for position. So some great action back here from 21st on back.
Yeah, Bill Elliott's had a solid day. That moves him up there in that 20th spot.
Also, you see Travis Quapple in that 37. He's on the lead lap.
Quapple, 24th, the last car on the lead lap.
Reagan making a pit stop there.
A little bit further forward, there's Dale Jr. He's underneath and going past Matt Kenseth. So Kenseth going backwards.
Tell you what, guys, we've had sun on this racetrack, and it's heated up out there. This track is extremely slick right now.
Kurt Busch right behind Carl Edwards, ducking down low. David Reagan had to come in and make a tire chase. He's going all the way around, Vince.
That's right. They had a tire going down. It's been a solid run for Reagan. He's been running right around that top 15 most of the day. They've been working on the race car all day long, so this was a bad break under green for the 16.
It is definitely a bad break. He was running 19th. He was at the lead of that big old freight train that we saw as those guys were duking it out. Here comes your race leader, so he's going to go a lap down as Juan Pablo Montoya has opened up a 1.7-second lead over his teammate Jamie McMurray here at the Brickyard 400, presented by Golden Corral.
Four-time Brickyard 400 winner Jeff Gordon continuing to have issues. Right rear tire flat on the 24 car, had to make the unscheduled stop. Good news is he should be able to make it all the way from here on out. Bad news, he also said he has the water temperature and oil temperature going way up. Because guys, we may have other issues.
And Doc, the bad news is he's 5th on the list to get the lucky dog. He's 1 lap down. Now here's what happened just a little bit earlier.
You can see him getting loose right there. That right rear tire starting to go down.
Does a good job to hang on to it.
And there's the tread come off. Unfortunately, it happens going into turn 1, so he had to go all the way around.
Yeah, he literally would have been better off staying on the racetrack and have that come off there where they could have got a caution.
And there's what's left of the tire down on pit road. So
it's still going to be an issue. They're going to have to get that tread rubber off of there.
So one storyline may have gone south, and that being our first 5-time ever winner on the oval here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. But you just saw the gap between first and second, Juan Pablo Montoya and his Ganassi teammate Jamie McMurray. It's 2.1 seconds, but Jamie's got his mirrors full. The 16 of Greg Biffle. Biffle wants to break up this duo.
You can see Biffle hanging this thing out off the corners. He's trying everything he's got to get past Jamie McMurray and get a little bit more clean air on the front of that Ford.
Dave, let's get an update on the 16.
On the last run, Greg was so upset about losing the lead and not having a good race car that he said, did you make the adjustment in the right direction? He was kind of getting a little upset. Greg Irwin, his crew chief, assured him he had gone the right direction. This last time, they've been in track power and wedge adjustment. Greg has not said a thing, which the crew confirms. Yeah, if it was really bad, he would have told us. And you can see he's moving in on McMurray.
Right behind those two, 4th place is held down by our in-race reporter, Clint Boyer. He's been very steady all day long in that 33, Wheaties Fuel, as he is 3.6 seconds behind. And then Tony Stewart, who, boy, Friday, I didn't want to be around him. He was so unhappy with the way his car was running. Here he is in 5th, Vince.
Well, they found something late on Saturday in the happy hour practice. They thought they had a good baseline, and they had a game plan for their changes with the race car today. And they have been massaging this car with changes all day long. And Darian Grubb, their crew chief, said, we want to be best at the end of the day. Tony Stewart just came on his radio, and he said, I don't know what you've done, but this is the best I've had all day long. Not only is Stewart up on the wheel, but his guys in the pits have just been unbelievable today, picking him up spots every single pit stop. That's helped Tony Stewart get to the top 5.
Top 10 finishes in 5 of the last 6 races this season for the 14. And boy, there is the lead, but the battle for second is the best one we've got going right now. These guys have been going after it, and watch Biffle. He has come so close to the wall. Oh,
I think he touched it right there.
Can't do that too many times because this wall will bite.
He's doing it every lap so far, every corner. That's 4 times a lap that he has it. He might get a run right here. He's trying to loosen Jamie McMurray up right here, see if he can get him to where he can't get back to the throttle.
Well, a team owned by Ganassi has never finished 1-2 in a cup race, and Greg Biffle wants to make sure that streak stays intact.
These are 2 good friends, too, off the track, so sure they're having a lot of fun racing for this spot.
Look at Greg giving a little eye on the inside. Jamie slams the door. Look out. They don't touch. There he comes out again. Oh, yeah. This is good.
You can see Greg had to crack the throttle just a little to stay off the wall that time.
Coming out of 4, sliding again. Meanwhile, Clint Boyer's got to be watching all this and enjoying the show as well.
Well, he's not the only one. That's why Greg Biffle's pushing so hard. He sees those cars getting bigger in his mirror every lap.
Well, and also the gap has widened now, so maybe he's cooked the tires just a little bit. We'll find out when we come back to the Brickyard 400 presented by Golden Corral. Welcome back to the Brickyard 400 under our 5th caution. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. We've got debris on the racetrack and a 3.7-second lead for Juan Pablo Montoya, who has now led 84 laps and secured the 5 bonus points for only the 3rd time in his career. The other 2 times he finished 3rd and 11th in those races. Right now he's up front ahead of teammate Jamie McMurray, Greg Biffle 3rd, Clint Boyer 4th, and Tony Stewart is 5th. As far as the lucky dog this time around, it'll go to David Reagan. He'll put 23 cars back on the lead lap. And so let's talk a little strategy now that we got all that sorted out.
Same as last time. 4 tires and fuel. And you just can't afford to do anything else. Tires are worth too much here. You can't really afford to do any 2-tire strategy if you're going to win this thing.
And these guys get paid a lot of money to make that call that quick.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. But you may see some guys back that are outside the top 10 decide to try 2 tires. They don't have a lot of laps on the left side tires.
We'll see how it works for them.
Well, you know, it's just an opportunity. They're not going to win the race. They may not be able to drive their way into the top 10. They could try to steal a few positions here.
Well, I would advise against it.
I would too, yes. But we always see somebody willing to take a little bit of a chance.
Well, remember, Jeff Gordon, he would be able to stay out and get the wave around, get back on the lead lap. He stopped with about 32 laps to go, so this may end up getting him back at least into a respectable finish.
Yeah, I would say that they'll try to do that. Since he is probably in his fuel window to finish the race, especially with these cautions. So may not be the finish they were looking for, but it could salvage something.
4, planning on 4.
Well, just made you look like a good guy there, planning on 4.
Well, let's see how it works out.
It's Greg Biffle's radio that we were listening on. Got to be 55 miles an hour coming down pit road. And Vince, we're going to let you take it away.
Well, Tony Stewart's pit crew has done a great job all day long, gaining him positions in the pits, and they need a couple of spots here as he comes in 5th. Tony says the forward bite is the best it has been all day long. So they're going to make a slight track bar adjustment and 2 tires for Tony Stewart, Doc.
Clint Boyer begging Shane Wilson, guys, we got to go back on the air pressure. We got to get it back. The first couple laps of the restart, I can't even get the car to turn in the corner at all. They have gone back. Dave.
The 2 leading cars from Earnhardt Ganassi Racing with Felix Sabates will do different things. Jamie McMurray takes 2. Juan Pablo Montoya, he wanted to go for 4. And that's interesting because McMurray thought he might have a flat. I hope it wasn't on the left side.
Wow.
Montoya takes 4, Biffle takes 4, and look where they come out. 7th, 8th, Boyer, 9th, Busch, 10th. The two-tire strategy by the first 6 cars, and Kurt Busch picks up 8 spots. We'll see which strategy plays out. This is going to be good.
Back in February, opening the NASCAR season, Jamie McMurray won the Daytona 500, driving an Earnhardt Ganassi racing car, giving team owner Chip Ganassi a win in stock cars' biggest event. Then Ganassi came to the Indianapolis 500 and won it on Memorial Day weekend. Now, Chip Ganassi trying to become the man who can win both the Daytona 500, the Indianapolis 500, and the Brickyard 400 in the same season. Jamie McMurray, the new leader of the event, Juan Pablo Montoya, the dominant driver on the day, finds himself back in 7th place for this late restart after a shuffle of strategy on the caution flag. Let's talk about it with all our ESPN NASCAR analysts. Saw 6 cars do right side tires. And now the guy who was leading chose to do 4. Rusty, you start.
Oh, I would have been dead wrong, Alan. I thought those guys would have put 4 tires on, but they didn't. The top 6 cars, like he said, 2 tires. Montoya is just probably broken-hearted right now that this has happened to him. But the rest of these guys are going to have to drive their brains out. It's probably going to get pretty physical. Remember, NASCAR said, hey, boys, have at it. So I think we're going to see a little bumper banging going on out there right now.
But, Rusty, I agree with you. We would have maybe been wrong, but I don't think so. I think 4 tires still may be the right call here. If I'm sitting where Brian Patty's sitting, I've got the fastest car. I'm going to put 4 tires on it. 19 laps around here still, or 18 laps is still a long way around. I think that what's going to happen is the left side tires are going to give up. The guys on 4 tires are still going to have the bottom and drive to the front.
Yeah, good point. You might be right. That's for sure.
Let's hear from the crew chief who made the call for right side tires only while running second, Dave.
And that was Kevin Bodomanian. Okay, I understand the track position thing, but then your driver says I might have a flat, and then he kind of locks them up coming in. Are you okay?
Yeah, the tires are fine. There's 2 runs in a row, I believe we had a flat, and I think the splitter's getting a little bit worn, and it's causing a small vibration, which he thinks he has a flat. So, fast stroke Chevy's good to go to the end. I noticed Tony Stewart been coming earlier in the race. I noticed him last run, and now I noticed him second. So, you know, Indy and Tony Stewart go together, and we'll just have to wait and see. We've had a great race. Need to, you know, we still have Juan, who's the king of Indy, and Biffle's been really fast, both on 4 tires. So it's going to be an exciting race. I hope everyone on the couch holds on.
You got to beat the best when they're at their best, and the one team, they're trying.
All right, thanks, Dave. Let's listen in on the 42 radio.
Well, we'll see in about 15, 20 minutes. We'll know we made the right call. He's 7th to the inside. Just do the best you can. You got to get pretty aggressive here.
All right, green flag's coming. The 7 waiver rounds. Hamlin, Allmendinger, Smith, Newman, Johnson, Hornish, and Jeff Gordon. Up front, it's McMurray and Stewart in the front row. Then Harvick and Martin. Then Kurt Busch and Jeff Burton. And then Montoya and Biffle rounding out your top 8. And we're back to green flag racing. And boy, McMurray jumps and takes a big lead into 1.
Yeah, it's like almost like Tony Stewart was asleep at the wheel there on that restart. Great start for McMurray.
Kevin Harvick into 2nd. Look at all the action in behind them coming through, too. That's Biffle and Montoya side by side. Remember,
he's got him right there.
Yeah, and you heard Montoya's crew chief tell him he might have to get a little bit aggressive. I think he's got the right man to do the job.
Although right now he's about to get passed by 2 other cars, including Kyle Busch. There goes the 33 of Boyer, and here comes Busch. So Montoya, who has dominated all day, all of a sudden finds himself deep trouble with the laps running down. 17 next time by.
Yeah, and here comes Kevin Harvick up for the lead, too.
Down the front straightaway, there's Harvick as he is closing on the number 1 of Jamie McMurray.
Well, the best thing that happened to these guys that took 2 tires were that 6 of them decided to do that, and that separated them, let them get out here in this clean air, maybe be able to decide this among themselves if we don't have another caution.
Yeah, they almost buried those guys that took 4 tires in this dirty air, and you can see how much it's worth.
Back in 3rd, that was Tony Stewart. Remember, at halfway, he was 13th. Look at further back. Montoya is still trying to get around. Here comes Carl Edwards taking a peek underneath. Kyle Busch has taken a spot away from him.
And we saw this very thing when Montoya got back in traffic last year at the end of the race after being dominant. He just couldn't make up any ground then.
He is 9th right now on the racetrack, and he is losing ground to his teammate. He's 2.5 seconds behind the race lead. The front two are trying to check out from Tony Stewart and Mark Martin and company. Coming into 2, you see Jeff Burton taking a look underneath. He's going to go underneath Mark Martin. Here comes Greg Biffle. Biffle, the 4 tires seem to be working better for him, definitely, than Montoya.
Well, he's definitely the fastest car on 4 tires right now.
As we watch both ends of the track right here, Harvick taking a peek, but will not try and make the move going into 3.
Oh, what a great call this has been for Kevin Harvick. He's been solid all day, but nothing up at the front.
Now, this is the closest sniff he has had to the race lead all day long.
Man, he is working McMurray over right here. You might have him.
Coming down the stretch. Boy, look at this. Kevin Harvick makes it look easy this time as he becomes our 10th. Oh, no, trouble right at the pit end.
Montoya.
Yeah, we're leaders.
It's like Montoya and Jr.
Now, we'll have to wait to see when the yellow came out. I do believe Kevin Harvick will stick as the race leader.
It is Montoya.
Juan Pablo has damage to the right side. You're right, Andy. Look at this. Oh, man, what disappointment for the 42.
Well, so much for my call for 4 tires. I was agreeing with that, but it looks like it cost Montoya. Huge.
He led 86 laps today and now finds himself heading for the garage.
You know, this caution could be Greg Biffle's best friend. That might be his opportunity to utilize those 4 tires when we go back to green.
There's the damage to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car.
Need some tape for that fender band.
Chip Ganassi, Juan climbing out. Let's go back and see exactly what happened.
He just gets sideways out of the groove there.
Oh, yeah. Big lick into the wall.
And then Junior has nowhere to go. So a tough break for Junior as he gets swept up in another view.
Yeah, this is just Montoya trying to make something happen there. Probably pretty frustrated that they got themselves in that position.
And I'm looking to see when the yellow comes out. The yellow's out right there, so it does look like Harvick, from that angle at least.
Yeah, I think Harvick definitely has the lead there.
Junior was 15th, Juan was 10th. Let's go on board.
Let's see, drove in on the outside, I believe, of Carl Edwards there. And then Junior was just innocent victim of that. You can see here.
Stay high, come on, high, 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 high.
Yeah, Junior had nowhere to go with Marcus
Stay high,
Ambrose
they're
trying to avoid the 42 car.
Coming at you.
How fast things can change, and a very, very disappointed Juan Pablo Montoya. He has got to be wondering, what does he have to do to win this race? 2 years in a row he has led the most laps, and both times come away without the trophy.
Well, that's what just makes this place so special, is when you do get that opportunity and are able to take advantage of it, and then know that you have to wait a whole nother year to have another chance at it. But it's been very cruel to him the last 2 years.
Chip Ganassi still has one bullet, and that being Jamie McMurray, who right now is in second place. If he wants to pull off the trifecta, the work continues on Jimmy Johnson, and they're working on that splitter.
They've been working on this car all day.
All right, we've got 14 laps to go. For the first time today, Kevin Harvick finds himself in the race lead, and there's one more look at the way the day ended for Juan Montoya and Dale Jr. Well, we've got baseball on ESPN tonight and tomorrow night. First, it's the Cardinals taking on Chicago on ESPN's Sunday Night Baseball at 8 Eastern. Then on ESPN's Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern, it's the Tigers and the Rays. Both games available on ESPN3.com. Under our sixth caution, our race leader is Kevin Harvick with Jamie McMurray right alongside. And Tony Stewart and Jeff Burton will be third and fourth. Now let's listen in on the radio of the one car.
The 29, I believe, missed a shift earlier. Has been complaining about restarting. So you know what you got there. Just be aware of it.
I know I'm beating a dead horse, but I swear I got a tire that doesn't feel right. I just can't tell. I mean, I don't know what's wrong. Something doesn't feel right, though.
Well, you know, he did slide the tires getting in to the pit road before he made that right side change. I saw the right front slide, and he could have slid the left front. Could be causing him some problems now because he's been better than Harvick all day, and Harvick passed him for the lead.
Well, the big guy that's got to worry about all this is Tony Stewart. He's behind both of them, especially if they are having a shift problem on the 29. He's directly behind him on this restart.
Yeah, that's when I thought Harvick spun the tires, but he actually missed a shift.
All right, let's also let you know that wave around before the last caution, it did help Denny Hamlin. He's now 19th on the lead lap. So is Allmendinger in 20th, and also Ryan Newman, who got the lucky dog, in 23rd. Jeff Gordon is 24th. Jimmy Johnson is 25th, all on the lead lap, as well as Scott Speed, who is the last car of the 26. So let's get an update on Kevin Harvick, Doc.
Kevin Harvick told me yesterday that he grew up in Bakersfield, California, and he was a huge Rick Mears fan. He said, growing up, I used to sit home every May and watch Rick Mears win Indy after Indy after Indy, and I hoped and prayed that someday I could follow in his footsteps and maybe win more than one. Maybe today is the day.
Kevin Harvick has already won this race once in his career. Can he make it a second? We're about to find out, because next time by we will have 11 laps to go around this famed 2.5-mile oval. Pace car pulls off. Field forms up. We gave you the lineup. Watch Kevin Harvick if he has the shift. As they come towards the starter stand, the green flag will fly, and we are back racing again at the Brickyard 400.
Oh, McMurray with a really good restart. Can he hang on that outside here?
Well, we're going to find out, because a lot of guys are going with him.
Oh, takes the lead off of turn 1.
So give Jamie McMurray the lead. There is the 4 tires. Remember, on the 16 of Greg Biffle, he's in 4th, right behind Tony Stewart. The top 4 trying to pull away. There is Clint Boyer. He's got Kurt Busch to give him a little push to get around Jeff Burton.
Yeah, looks like Burton's struggling to get up to speed here on this restart.
Boyer clears, but Kurt cannot. Now he runs up a little higher. Kyle Busch, and here goes Biffle. Boy, he makes it easy around Tony.
I think Tony made it easy for him. He kind of moved over, let him have that spot, knowing he had the 4 tires. That's probably a good move there for Biffle, because that was a key pass.
Remember, on the previous caution, he was one of the few that did take all 4. Oh, this is not looking good. Hang on. That is Logano right up underneath the 5. You're on board.
You see him really getting Mark loose there. Mark trying to shut him down.
Yeah, he's not going to do it, though.
Logano gets underneath Mark. That is for position. Move Logano into the top 10.
This is like coming off the corner at Martinsville.
Yeah, Kenson, here comes Casey Kane. He's getting a big push from his teammate.
Right behind him is Bill Elliott. Whoa, and coming across the bow, that is Matt Kenseth slamming over the door. And boy, Kane had to check up. Meanwhile, there comes Biffle in 3rd. Here is Tony trying to hang on to 4th with Boyer right behind him.
Yeah, Boyer has 4 tires also.
This time by 9 laps remaining. It is still McMurray trying to do the double this year. Here we go a little bit further back. A.J. Allmendinger in the 43. Denny Hamlin. Remember, these guys are back on the lead lap now, so this is for position 15th overall.
Hamlin out of shape with Allmendinger getting underneath.
There's Bill Elliott trying to get another position for him. What a great run for he and the Wood brothers today.
He is running 17th right now. Remember, Martin Truex had problems a little earlier. He's right behind him in 18th. Jimmy Johnson trying to get back into this picture as well. He's got Brad Keselowski in his sights. That's 21st, and Jimmy's 22nd.
These guys can make 9 more laps without something big happening. I'll be surprised, but you see Jamie McMurray trying to break the draft a little bit.
This time by 8 laps remaining here at the Brickyard. He's opened up a bit of a gap, about 0.4 of a second over Kevin Harvick. And Biffle hasn't been able to close as rapidly as he had been.
Well, he did close on him pretty quickly, like you said, Marty, but he can't seem to make any ground to pass him. It's so hard to make these passes on this track. He's got to set him up first.
Oh, and he got so close to the wall coming out of 2.
Yeah, and how about McMurray? We've talked about this guy showing up at the big races, but he just gets the job done.
Yeah, don't forget he got passed for the lead by Harvick right before the caution came out, and he took it right back.
Only 2 drivers have won the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year. One of them was Jimmy Johnson in 06, and I'm standing next to the other guy, Dale Jarrett.
Yeah, that's a pretty big accomplishment to be able to do that. We did it in 1996, and I know Jamie's the furthest thought from his mind right now is the Daytona 500 back in February. He just got this in his sights right now, and he knows if he does his job and we don't have any cautions, he's going to do his job and bring it to Chip Ganassi.
Andy, you and I were talking with him on Friday back in the garage area, and he was relaxed, he was focused, and he was very confident about his race car.
Yeah, he was, and you can see why. He's just got great race cars under him. Everything seems to be really clicking for him this year.
All right, let's get an update on Juan Pablo Montoya as he's out of the race, Jamie.
Well, Marty, we followed him back to the motor coach lot, and he told us, I have no comment. I went up into the 42 hauler to get an interview with his crew chief, Brian Patty. He's sitting up there with his head in his hands, and he said, I really don't want to talk. Last year happened. This year, it's my fault. I take total blame for what happened. 2 tires was the call.
Did you ever beat yourself up like that?
Oh, yeah, I would too. I was that same call I would have made. I would have called for 4 tires, leading the race right there. And, you know, you just don't know how it's going to work out. It's why it's so hard to sit on these boxes and make these calls. I still feel like, you know, Greg Biffle's got the 4 tires. He should have the advantage, but he's still not able to pass.
Did you see Tony Stewart, as you were finishing up, got sideways through the corner, and Boyer luckily did not make contact. I don't know how, but he didn't.
Yeah, this is a great job by Tony Stewart today. He doesn't have the car to be running 4th, but he's got it there, and he's wanting to keep it there.
Let's go back, take another look, and hold your breath this time.
See, Boyer, man, he's really right on the bottom making his car stick.
Yeah, it's that position right there that you lose that air on the spoiler. You're trying to power up and keep the guy behind you. What a great job by Tony Stewart.
Let's listen in on Clint.
Clint had to check up just a
yeah, he was trying to stay off of Tony. His car was pushing a little bit with the front, and he was trying not to hit him.
One little nudge from Clinton, he'd have been in the wall. Remember, Stewart was 13th at the halfway mark. All right, let's get an update on our race leader, Dave Burns.
I spoke with him about 9:30 this morning when he was in the hauler in the garage area, that being Jamie McMurray. McMurray told me that, you know, at Chicago, where we sat on the pole and led 72 laps but finished 5th, it turned well, and I knew it was going to. It was really predictable, but he said, I'm a little bit worried about my car this weekend. The laps look good, the lap times look good, but it's not turning well. Overnight, Kevin Mannion made changes to it, but Jamie went into the race a bit worried. And as he tries to win the Brickyard 400 for Chip Ganassi, he may still be a bit worried because he's got Biffle and Harvick behind him.
Right now, as you saw, he's got that almost 9/10 of a second lead over second place. And Kevin Harvick's got a mirror full of Greg Biffle still.
You can see Harvick had the back end of his car hung out, trying to keep Biffle back there as he came off of turn 4.
Meanwhile, McMurray is just, you know, maintaining that advantage, and it's so, you know, his car looks so good right here. I'm really surprised that it's able to be that good on 2 tires. Lap times are really fast at this point.
Biffle has brushed the wall at least once that we have seen. He's come oh so close through the corners. He is literally hanging this car out, trying to do everything he can to get up to that 29. Coming through 4. Next time by, 3 laps remaining, and these 3 have checked out on everybody else.
Yeah, and it's kind of racing's kind of calmed down back here too. These guys got a little more single file and got their racing finished.
3 laps remaining in the 17th running of the Brickyard 400, and right now it looks like Jamie McMurray is in control. Kevin Harvick still holding on to second place. He's not given an inch of an opening to that 16 of Greg Biffle.
It's a great battle. I mean, it's just, you can't make one little mistake.
Make no mistake about this. If Chip Ganassi pulls off this trifecta, that is such a feather. We may never see that again in our lifetime, where you win Daytona, the 500, and the Brickyard 400 in the same year. This time by, now 2 laps remaining as they come down the front straightaway, and Biffle got close to the wall again.
Well, he's got it completely hung out. I know the front end's not turning like he wants. He's standing in the throttle, just hoping that he can keep it out of the wall or just get a little bit of a run on Harvick.
We mentioned the fact that Chevrolet has won the last 7 races here. 11 total coming into this race. They've got first and second place. Ford is in third. The best Toyota is Kyle Busch right now running in 8th. The best Dodge is Kurt Busch running in 10th. But right now, it's coming down to those 3 guys up front.
Yeah, and Jamie McMurray can't wait to see this white flag fly. That'll kind of ensure that we don't have a green-white checker. He's just holding his breath till he gets to the line.
Coming through turn number 4. It's a long way down this front straightaway to the white flag. But Jamie McMurray, as he makes his way, white flag is out. And this race is going to be official. The final lap, 2.5 miles to go.
Boy, what a great feeling. What a great job Jamie McMurray's done today. Ray Evernham sat down there. Ray, I know you're sitting there saying you're the one that picked this guy, and you have all week stuck with him. And Jamie McMurray looks like he's going to make it come true for Chip Ganassi and make you look like a genius, too, down there, buddy.
Down the backstretch for the last time. McMurray looking for his 5th Sprint Cup win in his 278th start. In the North Chute, Chip Ganassi. He knows he's this close to making history.
Yeah, he can start smiling now. You see it right there. You can see him come off the corner.
Jamie McMurray is going to win Daytona and the Brickyard 400 in the same year.
Be a part of it, guys. That is outstanding what you've done for Chip Ganassi Racing, fellas. Steve-O, good job, man. Awesome job, Bono. Great pit stop. Awesome job today, guys. Unbelievable.
Chip Ganassi saying, pinch me. Is this real?
I saw Chip at dinner on Thursday night. I said,
good job, Jamie.
I know what you're saying.
Out of it all day, man. Congratulations. And 4 guys. Team effort.
I know what you're saying to all the media, but you know this opportunity is only going to come along once. He goes, yeah, I know it. And I don't want to say anything to jinx it. I do want it. I want it. And they did it, and they have succeeded. Congratulations to the entire Earnhardt Ganassi team. Look at the celebration going on pit road.
Turned out to be a call in the pits that made the difference for the Ganassi team. One of them took 2 tires. The other one took 4.
Yeah, and then Jamie McMurray on that last restart from the outside of Kevin Harvick, making the pass before they got out of turn 1.
All right, let's talk.
Kiss the brakes.
We're going to kiss the brakes. Let's talk to Chip Ganassi, Doc.
Chip, I know you don't get very emotional, but what a special day for you and this entire organization.
Pretty special. You know, my heart goes out to Juan. He had a great day, too. But he and Jamie, you know, Bass, Target, this is for all of them. I'll tell you, this is a big, big day for our team, and I couldn't be happier to have it happen here at Indianapolis.
When will it sink in? I know you got IndyCar people watching. I mean, the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, and the Brickyard 400 all in one year.
It's incredible. I need oxygen. I don't know. I don't know what to say.
And what do you think Dad is saying back home, your biggest supporter?
I think he's watching right now. Hi, Dad. I hope you're on the oxygen back there, because I'll tell you what, I need some.
All right, go celebrate, Chip.
Okay, thanks.
Chip Ganassi headed to celebrate. And by the way, family, his mom and dad have been ailing, so what a special bit of medicine for the Ganassi family to have this happen here today.
You better believe it, Doc. You better believe it. Floyd Ganassi, we send your best to you and your bride, and boy, I know they are just bursting with pride right now, and they should be. What a great team. And Chip Ganassi, you got to understand the rivalry with Roger Penske. I mean, Penske has 15 Indy 500s, and Chip now has something that Roger or anyone else can lay claim to. When we come back, we've got a lot more from the Brickyard 400.
Missouri native Jamie McMurray won the Daytona 500 to open the NASCAR season back in February, the biggest event in the NASCAR schedule. Arguably, one of the second biggest races would be the Brickyard 400. Well, team owner Chip Ganassi, he won the Indy 500 with Dario Franchitti, and he got the Indy sweep today as McMurray scored the win. No question, a trifecta for team owner Chip Ganassi. Most thought it would be Juan Pablo Montoya who would be the guy rolling into victory lane today, but it is Jamie McMurray with a huge double dip in major NASCAR races 2010. To a very happy victory lane in Dave Burns.
Making history requires hard work and a ton of spirit, and I think you got a bunch. What about today's win, Jamie?
Oh, it's unbelievable. We didn't have the best car, and when Kevin got by me with a few laps to go, I thought our race was over. What about that? Yes! Yes! I can't believe it. Oh, I don't believe it, Chip. Unbelievable. Johnny Moore. What up, hey.
That's another happy day.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Can you believe it? No.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. But so when Kevin got by me, I thought our race was over. My car was real tight, and when he gave me the outside, it just gave me what I needed, and then my car was better at the end. And I just, I'm 10 laps to go. I'm like, just do what you got to do, and don't worry about those guys. So it was a really good day. I need to thank Sprint and all the fans for standing here. It was really hot today and hot in the car, and these guys stuck with us all day, and it was just an awesome day. Bass Pro Shops, McDonald's, Coca-Cola, Oakley Sunglasses, everybody that has stuck behind me when things weren't as great as they could have been, but it's unreal right now. And how about Chip winning the 500, both of them? And it's just awesome. I don't know what happened to Juan. I mean, he obviously had the dominant car again, and it's horrible the luck that team's having, but great race cars. Guys at our shop are doing an awesome job, and we're just a great team right now. I'm happy about it. Bono made a good call with the 2 tires.
What about giving Chip the trifecta now? I mean, I know you probably tried to not think about it during this week, but that's a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when Juan was leading and I was in second, I'm a big believer in fate, and I thought this is just the way it's meant to be. I thought I won the 500, Dario, the Indy 500, and then Juan's going to win this race. I really thought it was his day, but just shows you never give up, and just drive your heart out every lap.
I know all the races pay the same in points, but what is it about you and the big events, my friend?
Well, we've been really good at these races, what they call the big events, and this car has stood on the pole twice, and all 3 races in the top 5. I think it's got a first, a second, and a fifth, so it's a really good car, and I didn't want to tear it up on the front stretch doing the burnout. But I'm just shocked that I won the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same day. It's been an unbelievable year.
Are you saying you want to use it again? What's next on your list for this car?
I don't know. I don't make the decisions on that, but I assume it's going to come pretty quick.
All right, Jamie McMurray in victory lane at the Brickyard, and guys, he's made history giving Chip Ganassi the 3 big wins this year, 2 500s and a 400. Alan.
What a great feeling. Winning at Indianapolis. Want to know what it feels like? Just watch the expressions, watch the reactions of the men who've just been involved in that victory. Jamie's wife expecting, obviously. And what a great year. He's going to remember 2010 being McMurray in victory lane, celebrating a win in the 17th Brickyard 400. Lots more still to come.
NASCAR Sprint Cup Series Brickyard 400 is presented by Golden Corral. For the first time ever, Golden Corral is offering unlimited baby back ribs, all for around $10. And in part by New Wheaties Fuel, prepare to win. And Nationwide Insurance. Enter this code at codespotter.com for a chance to win a Roush Ford Mustang.
Well, if you think about a golfer winning at Augusta and then St. Andrews in the same year, you'd think he'd had a pretty good year, right? Well, Jamie McMurray has won the 2 biggest NASCAR races of the season in the same year, as he took the Daytona 500 back in February and now has taken the Brickyard 400 at Indianapolis. Really, 2010 has been a fine year compared to 2009 for McMurray.
Absolutely remarkable recovery by Jamie McMurray. He's put himself back in the spotlight and has done an outstanding job this year.
Went from being on the verge of wondering where his career was going to being the guy known for winning the majors. Let's head back upstairs for some more thoughts on today's race. Marty Reed, Dale Jarrett, and Andy Petrie. Easy for me to say.
It's all right. It's been a long day, Alan. I want to bring in Dale because you have a new member of your exclusive club now. 3 guys have won Daytona and the Brickyard in the same year. And you've also felt the other side of that equation with Juan Pablo Montoya.
Yeah, and let's speak about Montoya first. We had a race here in '98 where I had the fastest car, and unfortunately we didn't win. We ran it out of gas. But this is 2 years in a row for Montoya to just be dominant here. So really feel for the guy. I'm sure that he'll be back, ready to go next week, and back here again next year trying to do it. But Jamie McMurray, it's a great feeling whenever you win the 2 biggest races in the same season. Just fantastic, and my hat's off to Jamie for joining that club.
And one of the things that makes this racing so special is that strategy call right at the end, and 4 tires wasn't it.
Yeah, I would have called for 4 tires, and for sure that would have been a conservative call. But McMurray's team, they decided to go with 2, and quite a few other teams. And I kind of feel for Brian Patty. He's the one that's probably feeling responsible for the way this thing kind of turned out, because it put him back in traffic and got him in trouble. But that's just what makes him so unpredictable. That's why you got to watch him every week. You never know.
All right, let's talk to second place, Kevin Harvick.
Kevin Harvick has won this race before and came close to doing it again today. Second place. I know it's not the same as winning, but you were in position. What was the key on that last restart when Biffle got around you?
Well, I got tight going into turn 1 there in the middle, and just had to wait on my car, and Jamie was able to just carry the momentum around the outside. The first restart, my car took off great. We were able to get by him, and my car never acted like that again. But good day for our Shell Pennzoil Chevy, and everybody did a great job just putting us in position. I felt like we had a top 5 car, but didn't have a winning car. And we had a chance to win there at the end and just came up a little short.
How do you put in perspective the strides that this organization has made in a year's time?
It's pretty hard to put it into perspective, just for the fact that, last year we were at best a mid-pack car on a good day. And, this was kind of the turnaround where it started last year, where we got our new cars. And, even today, we like I say, we had a top 5 car, but we had a car that was capable of winning at the end because we took a chance and were able to run fast enough to have a chance. So with our cars last year, we couldn't even take that chance because they weren't fast enough and we wind up in the way. But good job to Gil and all the guys.
The points leader, Kevin Harvick, second today at the Brickyard.
Yes, and he has had a very good year so far, as we pointed out at the beginning.
Makes me.
Jamie McMurray, winner of the Brickyard 400, getting into the Corvette for the parade around this racetrack for the fans to see. One of the traditions post-race here at Indy. Won't be too long before he'll be out by that yard of bricks to pucker up, put that big old smooch on the yard that he'll so enjoy. Chip Ganassi, co-owner Felix Abada is all piled in there. Now joining us in our ESPN pit studio, as he's agreed to do for all of our ESPN race telecasts this year and our extensive post-race coverage, Carl Edwards, today driver of the Aflac Ford for Roush Fenway Racing. First of all, you were remarking before we start to talk about your race about your fellow, what is it, Missouriite?
No, he's a Missourian. And yeah, it's a proud day to be from Missouri. It's so cool for Jamie to win this race, to see what he's been through. The first time I met him, he was at Mike Mittler's shop. He came and answered the door, and he's all greasy. He used to have long hair, and he's working on something under the truck. And he's always been a polite guy and a guy that could do anything on the race car. And to see the struggles that he's gone through, and I mean, just look at that smile. That's
Yeah.
unbelievable. So cool to see him out there.
Priceless. Now let me take you through a little bit of your race. You wound up finishing 7th. It wasn't that easy. You started 19th. There was a big wreck, turn 2, lap 1. You missed that somehow, but then you wound up on pit road at lap 10 with an overheating car.
Right, and I don't know what it looked like to you guys or to the fans, but the air was the biggest thing we were racing out there today. And, there was one time when somebody got the splitter down there in the grass, and it looked like a snowplow, and it threw all this grass up. And I'm glad I looked at my water gauge, because it was, it just headed up, got to 300 degrees, and a lot of guys had that trouble. But then as the race went on, we took 4 tires at the end because we thought that tires would be the thing. And it's so strange. You're not really racing the tires. You're racing that air. And the guys with 2 tires, they're the ones that made out today.
We sit right here in the pit studio, myself and Ray, Andy, Peter, the booth, and said, hey, 4 tires, that is it. But the clean air, I mean, getting that car out front just had to be everything. Did it feel that way? I mean, it looks like the cars were all over when they got behind cars.
Right. You could run, very hard, on the short run and kind of ratchet some positions up. But, as opposed to last night at a small track like ORP where aero's not such a big thing, 4 tires that was the deal there. I don't, no tires or 2 tires was the deal here. And Jamie and those guys played it right, and then they stayed out front. we just we never had a chance to get up there. But the cool thing for us is that I think Greg Biffle had a chance to win this race. I felt like he had a car that could do it. That's great for Ford, for 3M, for Aflac, for all of us at Roush Fenway. You know, we obviously lost a great driver in Jamie, but it's nice to be able to keep up with him a little bit here at this race.
Yeah, that was going to be my comment. I mean, you guys feel like you've kind of turned the corner a little bit today. I mean, you had Matt Kenseth, yourself, Greg Biffle, all within the top 12. Yeah. Looked like you all ran pretty well. Is this a turning point for you guys?
Yeah, it is, and it's inspiring to look at what Jamie did and those guys today. See him going around that racetrack smiling and waving with the checkered flag, and to know that, you know, his 2009 was not what he wanted it, and here he comes to 2010, and he's won, you know, the 2 biggest races of the season. You know, and that gives us hope. And I'm proud of my guys back at the shop, just as those guys should be proud of theirs. Well, I was going to kid you and tell everybody you knocked me out of my chair when I get there, but I figured you had a long enough week with that. But I was hoping we could make it through this without bringing that up. I said he's in great shape. He's not even sweating. But, you know, it seems like in the last 3 or 4 weeks at Roush, you guys have really turned the corner. Is that the new engine? Is it suspension? It just seems like right now you're a threat to win races again. Right. It's everything, and you guys know how that is. You have to have every part of the package, and you know. The perfect example is you know, I keep talking about Jamie, but it's his day today, and you look at Jamie and how he ran and you know, over with us, and then he came over to this other team, and he's running so well. And it's really inspiring to all of us. We sit there in those meetings and we go, look, you know, we can do this too. We can go out here and perform well. In the last few weeks, it's been that FR9. It's been the guys in the shop paying attention to the details. This new car I drove today is the nicest car we've had come out of the shop. And it's everybody sticking together as a team. That's what makes things work.
So to put a button on your day, you wound up 7th after being 33rd 10 laps into the race. You were there by Montoya when he had his troubles late in the day. Just kind of put a button on your whole day for us.
Our day was great. We had one of our Aflac Crew of Courage members, a man, Jerry, that had beaten cancer 3 times. Wow. And it kind of put things into perspective for me starting the day. And we never got down. We kept digging, and we needed it to be the Brickyard 600 or 700 to make a couple more positions. But a great day for us and for Ford.
Carl, thanks for your analysis on the race and some of the things you saw. We look forward to talking to you after next Sunday's race in Pocono.
All right, thanks a lot, guys.
Carl Edwards joining us on our ESPN post-race coverage after finishing in the top 10 in the Brickyard 400.
And as you look down on this beautiful 2.5-mile layout, another race in the record books. And let's check in with a guy who had a long day, a 4-time champion, Jimmy Johnson. Jamie Little's with him.
Well, for Jimmy Johnson, an eventful day today, Jimmy, from start to finish, the pit road issues. What happened earlier?
Well, you know, we were just trying to make the car better on the pit stops, and took some time early in the race to adjust the car to correct the tight end. My car was just so tight in. I had guys out-braking me at a track where, you know, you really don't charge the corner. So we're really confused as to why. Maybe something went on with the shock or something in the front, although we changed both front shocks thinking that might be it, and it didn't really correct the problem. So we, you know, from Chicago, we had this as well, where at a certain point in the race, we just got real tight. And then today it happened probably about, you know, after that first, caution that we had at 15 laps or something. After that, it just got real tight in, and I couldn't go anywhere.
3 finishes in a row now, 22nd or worse. That's not like Jimmy Johnson, the 48 team. How are you guys looking ahead now to Pocono?
Man, you just never know each week. It doesn't matter if, you know, the 11 car's been on a roll at times. We've been on a roll at times, 29. Whoever it is, no one seems to be able to sustain for a long period of time. So the only saving grace I see right now is that no one has been able to link together a long stretch. Outside of the 29, I mean, he's been awfully tough. But a good thing this race isn't in the chase. That's another good thing I can look at. And I'm trying to find some positives here. But we'll move on and we'll be stronger. There's no doubt about it.
Jimmy Johnson staying optimistic.
All right, Jamie, as you finish, the Corvette pace car has made it back around. Believe it or not, there were 7 people in that Corvette, including Chip Ganassi and Felix Sabates and our race winner, Jamie McMurray. Chevrolet didn't know they made a...
I've been 7.5.
They didn't know they made an SUV that size or that powerful, did they? They got a lot of people in there, but here it is, the moment that was begun by our colleague right up here in the booth, along with your crew chief, Todd Parrott, came up with the idea of kissing the bricks. And the traditions here at Indianapolis, of course, the milk back in 1936 with Louis Meyer. He actually drank buttermilk that day, believe it or not.
I think Jamie's going to pour some Coca-Cola on the bricks before he gets done.
Well, that would make it taste a little better, wouldn't it? What is it really?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's no doubt. A good Coca-Cola. I'm sure he's ready for a good cold Coke right now.
Can you imagine Chip Ganassi's feeling right now as well? thinking about this moment along with the rest of those crew members, and here they are after winning the 17th running of the Brickyard 400.
I can assure you, in respect to all the drivers' wives that had the opportunity to do that, that is a wonderful kiss right there. That is the culmination of a lot of hard work and effort on all of those guys' part. And that's what's so great, is all the people that help make it possible. Not all of them, because there's still some that obviously with the guys we talk about at the shop, but these people all had a huge hand in making it happen, and they can help celebrate right here.
Chip just got bumped off.
I can't imagine how Chip feels right now. This is such an accomplishment for him.
While they continue to take the photographs, changing all the hats that the process goes through, let's take a look at the updated chase for the 12 spots for the chase after 20 races. And look at Greg Biffle right now in that 11th spot. Is boy, he has made himself a player again in the top 12. Let's talk to him, Doc.
Well, Greg Biffle logs a career-best third-place finish at the Brickyard. And, Greg, when the day began, did you have any idea that your car would be this competitive and run this well?
Well, we're certainly hoping it would. Last year we finished 4th here with a similar setup, a little bit different this time. But, you know, pretty happy we could run with a 42. I was excited about that. 3M piston earplug Ford Fusion, really good. Engines just ran great. Just wanted to get 4 to win. You know, I mean, we're going to have to take some chances, and I guess 2 tires is what we're going to have to do one of these days.
The final call there, you took 4 tires, others took 2. Who made the call? And now when you look back on it, obviously, if you'd have taken 2, would it have made a big difference?
Yeah, I think we would have probably, you know, anybody could say we could have won, but, you know, I think 2 would have been the right call. We could have raced with the 1. We were about as good as the 1, maybe a little better than the 1, but about the same as a 42. So 2 tires probably would have put us up front, and we could have duked it out for the win. But, you know, great run, good top 3 finish for us. Didn't gain a lot in the points. A lot of guys finished right around us. We're racing for the chase, but still a good day.
Hey, congratulations on another great day, bud.
Thank you.
All right, Doc, thanks. So Greg Biffle's comments there on finishing 3rd. And as we watch the celebration continue out by the Yard of Bricks, in the pit studio with Rusty, Brad, and Ray to kind of put a button on some of the stories we talked about before the race started on NASCAR Countdown. Rusty, the Penske effort today.
Yeah, absolutely. Roger didn't get a win again here at the Brickyard 400. They tried really hard. They had a great-looking car, just couldn't quite get the handle on it. Yeah. You got to feel for him. You know, we talked about him on our Countdown show. They gave it another run at it, but hey, got to try it again next year.
Yeah, that's right.
And Brad, we talked about Jeff Gordon.
Yeah,
we talked about Jimmy Johnson. We talked about Denny Hamlin.
Wow, I'm going to tell you what, for Jeff Gordon, the day really never got started very well. But for Jimmy Johnson, the day just unraveled. He was extremely quick early on. We thought he was going to be a threat to Montoya, and he just ended up going backwards all day long. Same for Denny Hamlin. Got a lap down, fought his way back, just couldn't quite get in the mix. Tough day for those 3 gentlemen.
And Ray, the Ganassi story. He wound up getting the trifecta, but it wasn't with the driver most of us thought, but it was with the guy you thought.
Well, the Ganassi organization has got depth, and Chip runs so good here, and it's really neat. Congratulations, Chip. It's great to see be part of history, but all along, you know, we knew that 42 was fast, but as I said, that one car, Jamie McMurray and the group had portrayed confidence all week long, worked on their car. Jamie just had some bounce in his step, and I knew that if that 42 were to falter, that the 1 could be there to pick it up. That's a sign of a great race team.
Going to have to start calling him Majors McMurray at the minute. So Jamie McMurray celebrating the win here at the Brickyard 400. And as we continue our extensive post-race coverage here on ESPN after today's race, we talked about Jeff Gordon just a second ago. Let's get his post-race thoughts with Jamie Little.
And Jeff Gordon brings it home 23rd today. Jeff, kind of a wild and crazy day. We saw you lose a tire at one time. What happened out there today?
I saw the 9, the 29 kind of come together a little bit, racing hard, and we got a good run on them and made up a couple positions. We really struggled today with the DuPont Chevrolet. I mean, track position is so important here. We see that all the time. You know, we had a good car at times, but just not a good enough one to drive up through there. And so we were just kind of, you know, doing our best and, you know, took advantage of that situation. Then all of a sudden I felt a big vibration. I thought I had a loose wheel, but then they said the splitter was vibrating. And then, I don't know, must have broke off and cut the right side tires, and I just went along for a ride. I got pretty lucky, actually, with it. We didn't tear the car up down there in turn 1, and we fixed the best we could and just brought it home.
New right side tire, of course, a lot of talk, first time running a spoiler here. Did you notice any difference?
Well, you know, I mean, there's a huge difference from what we used to have. I mean, this tire lasts no problem. I mean, the tire issue we had was purely because we ran over something. So, you know, I give Goodyear a lot of credit from that sense, but, you know, we're really struggling trying to pass out there. And I mean, my car didn't feel any better on lap 1 than it did on lap 15. So, you know, I think there's some things they can do to improve it if they can keep the wear good. But, you know, right now I think with this surface here at Indy and our cars, and as much as we, you know, eat up right side tires, I think this is probably the best of both worlds.
So good news coming from Jeff Gordon. Long, hard-fought day. He brings it home 23rd.
Well, and I guess it depends on what kind of car you have, because remember Joey Logano, he could pass. He started dead last in this field, picked up 33 total spots, ended up finishing in 9th. So there was some passing going on out there, quite a bit of passing, in fact, today. But if your car didn't handle, you weren't going anywhere. Let's check in now with a guy who really surprised everybody coming home in 5th, Tony Stewart. He's with Vince.
It's been a tough weekend for Tony Stewart. Been battling a little bit of a summer cold, had a couple of bags of IVs yesterday, and trying to get a race car to work for him this weekend as well. And I know Darian Grubb and his crew massaged on it all day long. What did you have there at the end when you brought it home 5th?
The 2 tires got us some track position at the end, but we were a little bit too free back to the gas. But I'm so proud of Darian and these guys on this Old Spice Office Depot team. We were probably, honestly, about a 20th place race car last night after happy hour. So a top 5 today feels like a win, but just an awesome job. Darian stayed up late last night and was working through different simulations and trying to figure out what combination we could change to and just make this thing better. But just a long weekend. Glad we had a great weekend for Old Spice. This is a home race for them, being Procter & Gamble being in Cincinnati, and we're going to lose them at the end of the year, but just I've had a great run with them for 11 years now, and just really appreciative of everything Old Spice has done, and appreciative of everything that Office Depot does for us too. So an awesome weekend for us.
I was talking to Darian before the race, and he said we need to get some wins. We feel like you're going to be a chase team, but you need those bonus points. You haven't gotten a win yet this year. Do you feel like you're getting close, or how close do you feel like you are?
I mean, we're still lacking, I'll be honest. I mean, I wish I could say that we were where we needed to be, but you know, I'm proud of our organization. I mean, all the guys that are at Stewart Haas Racing that don't get to come to the racetrack on the weekend, they've really been working hard, and the engineers have been working long hours and staying afterwards each day, just trying to make us better. And you know, that's all as a driver, and especially as a car owner, that's all you can ask for is the hard effort these guys are putting forth.
The Indiana fans were cheering for him today. Smoke brings it home 5th at the Brickyard.
Got everything he could out of that ride today. Did a great job, and there is your race winner. In fact, for Jamie, 16 laps led is the second fewest laps led by a 400 winner. Guess who had the fewest? Yeah, if you guessed Dale Jarrett, you're right. He led 11 back when he won here in 1996. And, of course, you want to talk about an interesting day. How about Kyle Busch? Remember, he was involved in that first lap mess, and Jamie Little's caught up with him.
And Kyle Busch brings it home 8th today, but after lap 1, Kyle, it looked like your day could have ended. There was a multi-car wreck. How did you guys fight back from that?
I'm unsure, but we just gave it all we had. You know, I don't know what happened there on that first lap. I just lost it, I guess. And fortunately, we didn't get hit by many other cars. Just the 77 just barely touched us, and minor repairs to the car. But car drove well. It was really good. Just in traffic on the initial restarts and stuff, it was real edgy. But once we got single filed out, car drove pretty good. So thank Dave and all the guys on this M&M's Camry. They gave me a pretty good race car today. So fortunate for the month that we've had, we got back out here with a solid top 10 finish. So also just a special promotion for the Kyle Busch Foundation. If you go check out rowdybusch.com, purchase some stuff. It all's tax-free, and you know, hopefully we can get some sales for the Kyle Busch Foundation.
And Kyle, this weekend you had a new spotter, Eddie DeHaan, your interim spotter as of now. How'd it work out, and are you going to keep him on board?
Things went well. You know, Eddie was with me for all 3 races, and he did a great job. You know, we're going to go out, have some lunch later this week, and talk about a couple things on how he did, how I liked it, and what maybe Dave wants to hear different or something like that. But so far, so good.
Solid day for Kyle Busch. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, and he needed one because if you look back over the last few races, last 6, in fact, there are the numbers, guys.
Yeah, and just as Jamie pointed out, it could have been devastating. That first lap spin that he had there in turn 2, could have gotten hit by other cars and had another one of those 40th place finishes, and that would have been bad. But they rebounded, did a fantastic job, and got a top 10 finish out of it.
Yeah, it didn't start out good at all for the Joe Gibbs cars. Denny Hamlin found himself in the pits with that debris in the grill, and he had to work his way, try to get back on the lead lap all day long, it seemed like. And Joe Logano got caught up in that early stuff too, and so he made his way back. So the Gibbs guys did a good job of rallying. Just didn't have any good breaks today.
Yeah, we documented all of those except Hamlin. He came home in 15th position. So yes, and you're right, Denny was down a lap most of the time and managed to struggle back and make the best out of what was a bad situation. But what a drive. I mean, when we talked about it right at the beginning, we said a lot of those cars that were involved in that first lap melee, their day was basically done, and Kyle was the only one really who came back and got back into the top 10.
He got lucky. I mean, let's just face it. He did. He spun in front of a lot of cars, and he was lucky enough not to hit anybody, or anybody hit him. And some of those other cars, I mean, Elliott Sadler, you saw Reed Sorensen get actually destroyed. His day's done right off the bat. So, you know, Kyle got lucky. He had some skill involved, too, and he did drive his way back up there, but he did have some luck on his side.
Well, the only Dodge to finish in the top 10 was Kurt Busch, as he came home in 10th position. So it wasn't a very good day for Team Penske. Let's talk to him. Jamie?
Well, Kurt Busch brings it home 10th today. Your best finish here since 2004, Kurt. What was your day like? I know it was eventful.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought battle. You know, ever since they diamond cut this track, I've struggled with it flat out. You know, I'll admit it. And we started off way tight, through the kitchen sink at her, and we ended up loose on that end of it. But you know, just Miller Lite Dodge, hard-fought battle with the razor blade edge. I mean, we were just on that loose, tight edge, and we had some damage to the nose. It really hurt us aerodynamically at the end, about with 30 to go. So we hung on. I thought we could have finished maybe 5th if everything would have went our way, but we'll take 10th. It's just been a tough track for me in years past.
Now that we've got through it, we're ready to move forward to Pocono. What are you thinking about that next weekend?
Yeah, we struggled there last time there. It's a real rough racetrack, flat like this one, so we got our work cut out for us.
Good job, Kurt Busch. Top finishing Dodge today.
Well, while we've got a moment, let's talk about what's been coming up on the motorsports calendar. We'll have Mopar Mile High NHRA Nationals. The finals are tonight at 7 Eastern on ESPN2. And then the NASCAR Nationwide Series will be at Iowa next week. Join Vince Welch and the gang Saturday at 7 Eastern, that too on ESPN2. And then we'll be with the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Pocono, presented by Aaron's, next Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern on ESPN. And our coverage starts at noon Eastern with Countdown over on ESPN2. All right, let's talk a little bit more about Jamie McMurray. Again, he took the lead for the first time at lap 140. That's the latest a winner has ever done that.
Well, what gets me about Jamie is how well he's done since he's come back to Chip Ganassi Racing. It's been a great homecoming. It seems like, you know, he just never really got his mojo over at Roush and didn't have the kind of finishes that we can see that he can get. But, man, he came back to Ganassi, and they've welcomed him with open arms, and what a great success it's been.
Yeah, and I think Jamie will tell you that he feels like he's at a place now that he was wanted. You know, before he was just kind of making moves, trying to find his spot. But he's wanted back here. They sought him out, trying to get him back here to be a part of this race team, and everything happened for them right today. And you know, you talked about how late he took the lead. Well, it was a great pit call that got him in that position, and then he made a terrific pass.
Let's take a look at what we always call the money stop.
Yeah, I was calling for 4 tires for my guy, which was Montoya, and here they are taking 2. They get in here and make a really good stop, get out of the pits. Jamie's ready to go as soon as that jack dropped, and then he really had to race Harvick for this.
Yeah, I can't tell you how difficult this is right here to really drive it off in that outside lane right there. There's not a lot of grip up there to make that pass and get yourself in the clean air that you had to have to win this race. What a terrific job by Jamie McMurray.
And there was the celebration by Chip Ganassi and his team, and the burnout, which literally tore up the whole right rear quarter panel. And the celebration as they kiss the bricks here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So the celebration, I think, will go deep into the night for the #1 team of Jamie McMurray. So let's spin a little bit forward now. As we always have the big events. Let's talk about now, because we're going to start focusing on the chase.
Yeah, and Kevin Harvick, he wanted to be the guy that won this race for the 9th time and going to win the championship. Now, he's still our championship leader, but, you have to focus in on him. This team is doing everything right, and he's kind of put some distance between himself, even though things will close up here in just a few races.
And what has to make him feel really confident going into the chase is 4 out of the top 6 were Earnhardt Childress Racing engines, and so you got the power under the hood, you can make that car handle.
And there you see the photos. It never gets boring, does it? I mean, all the photos you have to take when you win?
As long as they want to stay there, a driver's willing to stay there and take change as many hats, whatever you want to do.
Well, another year at the Brickyard. Can you believe there's actually been 17 of them, guys?
It seems like yesterday we came here, and we've seen so many great races and so many great champions, and Jamie McMurray is going to be a great one.
Yeah, it's just an exciting day for Chip Ganassi. I mean, as Marty said earlier, we may never see this happen again with an owner winning all 3 of those big races.
All right, let's talk about what's coming up. We got NASCAR Nationwide Series at Iowa Saturday at 7 Eastern on ESPN2, and then Sprint Cup Series action from Pocono presented by Aaron's next Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern. Brickyard 400 is over, but we have more. Stay tuned. Next is Sports Center and more post-race coverage. For our entire ESPN crew, I am Marty Reed. Thanks for joining us. Till we meet again. And the 17th Brickyard 400 at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
All we got to do is do our jobs right, and I think we're going to have a fantastic day.
Wagon, we are green.
Never seen anything like this, all these cars running hot just because of this grass kicking up.
As Juan Pablo trying to win the race off of pit road, there's Biffle at pit road. Speed will win and retain the lead.
Problems for Jimmy Johnson. Here comes your race leaders. Juan Pablo Montoya has opened up a 1.7-second lead.
Oh, no, trouble right at the pit end.
How fast things can change.
With a really good restart, can he hang on that outside here? Oh, takes the lead off of turn 1.
Jamie McMurray is going to win Daytona.